Ben.
Hey, and this is Jeremy.
And you're listening to Small Town Stoics.
So what are we doing today? What's the plan here?
I think we were drafting NBA all-time teams.
Draft day on the podcast.
And we brought back some returning guests for tonight. C.C. Williams. I think my mic's fucked up. Jeremy, check over what Okay, no. We're good. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can't hear anybody else in mine, but so we brought back C.C. Williams. He was on the podcast, I think, number 3, discussing Black Lives Matter. And
It's fucked up. We have so many episodes now that we can't remember.
We do. I had to go back and look and try to remember. And then we have a fucking mic stand. Like, there's been nothing but technical difficulties tonight, guys. So, like, if I throw something through a fucking wall, you'll know why. And we got Dakota Holloway back on, and he was on the last time we did a major sports podcast.
Yeah, we kind of just did a grab bag of sports back then, I think.
Yeah, it was just we opened baseball cards.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Old school cards.
Or basketball cards.
Basketball.
I did basketball.
But yeah.
I did football.
You did baseball too.
So
there was some baseball because Logan wound up with some Josh Bell and a few others.
Oh, yeah. We had a fun time. We opened a bunch of cards.
It was a good time.
Talked sports for
Yeah,
about 3 hours.
Yeah, it was about a 3 hour ago.
And so tonight we're going to talk sports, current events, all guys an excuse to get together and draft basically a fantasy 8-man basketball team using the all-time greats with the deciding factor of which team we think would win a 7-game series in the finals. So we rolled dice before we started, and Jeremy, of course, won because fucking seems to win at everything we do.
His house.
Home field advantage.
Home field advantage.
Ring dice, he was on the bottom.
So I got the number 2 pick. Who got?
I got the number 3 pick.
You got 3 and then 4, and then we're going to snake draft. So it'll reverse order every round. So,
I mean, we can probably go and write Christian Leitner down for the first pick.
Yeah,
So,
no,
Jeremy, you do.
Go, you can probably put Bobby
I
Hurley
heard
in
some
there.
I heard some Jeremy Lin discussion before we got
Darko
started.
Milicic.
So,
Oh yeah.
ooh, that's a good one. That's a
Greg
good one.
Oden.
Oh,
One of y'all
man.
have to take Greg.
Man,
You should do one of
My
our
team would
biggest
be so
busts.
good I can draft Greg Oden.
We should do an all draft. When the next one we do draft, we should do all bust team.
all bust.
Yeah.
I almost feel like though that Darko doesn't count as or not Darko. Greg Oden doesn't count as a bust because his old man knees laid out. Like
Still-
the bust in that draft process was the fact that he was actually 45.
Well, what
He looked
what
45
hurt?
at
Yeah,
19 years old.
What hurt though was the number 2 pick that came after him. You know, you either draft because number 2 was Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the KD draft. huh?
Yeah.
So where are you going to be with that?
Yeah.
You know, you fucked up. You drafted the dude with Barbie doll knees
Over the freak athlete
arguably
of
one
Kevin
of
Durant.
The
He will,
Blazers.
Kevin Durant will likely go in this draft. Kevin Durant
Blazers
will go in
took
this draft.
the Blazers took Oden, right?
yeah. Blazers
Yeah.
took Oden
Yeah.
and then
I know
Sonics.
I know you can't like
Right.
predict how things would have turned out, but could you imagine a Blazers team right now with C.J. McCollum, Damian Lillard, and Kevin Durant? Like I know maybe they don't luck into those two if they have.
Well,
Durant, 'cause
also
win a
they
few
got to
games.
keep him too.
So,
I mean,
but if he's got Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, I kind of feel like maybe.
but would they have
yes.
been in a position to
But that's what I'm
yacht
saying.
those
Yeah.
guys?
Like you can't predict whether
I mean,
they would or
that's
wouldn't have.
that's a whole
It's gonna
nother
have to-
can of worms.
That's
that
a
way.
fun theory to think about, though, if they would have been able to get those
The
guys.
what ifs
Because
in
they
the
had
NBA.
LaMarcus Aldridge back in the day, Brandon Roy.
Well,
like,
being
those would all
also
been
being-
great.
Oh,
Roy
man,
was
Brandon
their
Roy.
monster.
Being a draft lottery as well too, because you know
Yeah.
that if they had KD, that they would likely have been lower down because they would have had less balls in
Yeah.
the lottery,
Yeah.
or even a lottery team. So then that would have knocked them out of these other.
But didn't Dame Lillard went pretty deep though, didn't he?
Yeah.
It
I
wasn't
think
like,
so.
Yeah.
But still, I mean,
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
one pick above or below will make those
Make or
different.
break a
Yeah,
franchise.
and that's what I'm saying. Like you can't predict how it would have turned out, but that would have been it.
We're going way too deep on Ben's theory of how cool would this team have been. That's all Ben was saying. We're on like
What if
criticizing
Toronto never
him for
traded
thinking.
Tracy
I
McGrady?
forgot they had
Exactly.
LaMarcus Aldridge at that time.
Yeah, and Brandon
So-
Roy was a beast back then
Man,
for a while.
you know, there's so many what ifs in the NBA. Of course, it's with all those sports, but for me, the biggest what if was Penny Hardaway and Shaq. Like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
if they could have kept them together?
Yeah.
What if Shaq and Kobe would have stayed together? I mean, could they have won 4 in a row?
Possibly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Who knows?
I'd almost think they'd have got to 5 before it had got
I mean,
questionable.
they were so.
What if Shaq put the cheeseburgers down? You know, like and stayed
learn how to hit a free throw.
stayed at 280
Oh.
instead of ballooned at 330 or whatever he got.
But I mean, you seen that Orlando team? He was young and in his prime.
Yeah.
That dude was in shape.
Yeah.
in
And
Orlando.
Penny just because if y'all remember, that Orlando somehow or another lucked into back-to-back number 1 overall picks, and they took Shaq with the first one, which is obvious, because Leitner went 3 in that draft. And then
Which shows you how bad that draft was. After
Well, they
Shaq.
thought
Dude, Leitner was the
He was a
second.
beast
Dude,
in
I
college,
give you a
man.
hard time
Like,
for your
dude.
Christian Leitner
Yeah.
fanboy.
You can ask Chris Webber. Is like they went and played the Fab Five went and played that Duke team. And they're like, man, we're gonna kill these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And then after the ass whooping was over, they were like, these motherfuckers can play.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how bad.
Leitner
that
was
went.
supposed to be Bird 2.0, basically.
Leitner just broke down.
Yeah.
That's all there was to it.
What?
So do you think Penny Hardaway was a bigger what if than Grant Hill? Like if Grant Hill never got
His ankles don't go on him.
You know, Grant Hill had a lot longer playing career though.
Yeah, Grant Hill.
yeah, but he was never that same
Yeah.
guy. Like he
No.
was the next.
Oh, Penny was the same way though.
Jordan,
Penny
yeah.
was a
True.
monster
Yeah.
until he just started kind of just slowly declining, and
Yeah.
then it
I mean,
was.
my generation's what if is Tracy McGrady though. It's the same situation.
Yao Ming. You know.
Yeah, but
How the hell does Yao Ming make the Hall of Fame? I mean, did he just get it because he's tall?
I think he got it.
Asian. I don't know.
I think he got an injury.
I mean, he averaged 20 points a game every single season of his career.
The
Next
dude,
one.
I think
the
maybe
dude was a
one.
beat.
And it's he's last,
He was
last
a
season
big
where he
dude,
played,
but I mean,
Well, he was
20
skilled
games.
too. Like
Yeah.
you know, you
Well-
get those big talk. You get Sean Bradley, but
he broke down in the feet, didn't
Yeah.
he? He
Yeah,
was
his
I
a
think
feet
so.
went out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, so while we're here, I'm going to get my draft started, and I'm taking from North Carolina, number 23, Michael Jordan.
Of course he is.
Michael Jeffrey
Not
Jordan.
the best pick in the world. but
Michael
I'll take it.
Jeff Jordan.
And why did you take him one?
Well,
I'm just-
it was down to him and Sam Bowie.
Oh, yeah.
So where I was at with that one.
Yeah. Didn't want to repeat history. Huh?
I'm going to make the other two people in the room sad, and I'm going to take LeBron.
Well, duh.
So,
Is there anybody else right now that you can compare besides those two as the GOAT? I think there is, but I mean,
You can make an argument
Yeah.
for, I mean,
6-7 players maybe
Ooh,
max.
I think it's down to those two. In my
well, you
opinion.
talking about the GOAT?
Yeah.
I think it's a three-person conversation, and I think every one of them's generational.
Yeah.
I think it's Jordan, Wilt, and LeBron, and just however old you are.
you don't put Magic Johnson in that pile.
No.
Not the
Kareem?
top three.
No Kareem.
No.
Okay, my pick. It may be my second round pick. I don't
Hey,
know.
you ain't. It's my pick.
No. I'm saying my pick is gonna.
Oh, I
it's
got you.
gonna
I was
I'm
like-
gonna tell you why I think he deserves to be in that GOAT conversation because I'm sure no one else is gonna take him. But it's
Oh, I got you. Man. Actually, the person I would put next in this argument, I'd put Magic.
So Magic.
See, Irvin.
Magic.
Irvin is the shit.
and I'm going back to back, right?
Yeah,
Snake.
you got back to
Yeah.
that.
Well, I'm just gonna pick him first as we're going back to back, but I think this person deserves to be in the GOAT conversation. 6 finals appearances, 5 NBA championships, 20 years in the NBA,
I agree.
playoff every single year, 50 game.
Are you taking Robert Horry?
No, he played with him for a little while. 50 plus wins in every single season he played.
Go Kobe Bryant.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
The big fundamental has the highest winning percentage of nearly any player in any major pro sport in history.
And the classiest motherfucker
And that's
there ever
exactly
was.
why he's not in that conversation. Is people forget about it
Yeah.
because he was
Yep.
the big fundamental and was not the big media
Because
guy.
he was that guy that went out and scored.
Well, him
Had
and Pop.
28 and 13, and you
Yeah.
forgot he
That's
played.
how him and Pop got along so well. Is because
Got
Tim
him
never
on the
said
team.
shit, and
Yeah,
Pop was
he
just
allowed
popping
him
off.
to coach him.
So yeah, and he came from Wake Forest. I remember they were in college. They were my pick to win it all with him. I mean, he was the only player on that team. Like the only other player you could probably name from Wake Forest is probably Chris Paul.
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade came from
Marquette.
Marquette.
It was a couple years later.
But yeah, I mean
He's my favorite player of all time. For the reasons I just said. for
and
the
he
most
gets
part.
so overlooked.
He does.
Never that it's he's the greatest power forward, but like how about one of the greatest players? Like if he would have won, okay, you were talking about what ifs earlier. If Ray Allen doesn't hit that shot and he's got 6 rings right now,
Whole different story.
with all those other things, and you'd have to put him in the GOAT conversation.
And if Ray Allen doesn't hit that shot, he wins another ring. Who's to say they don't go on and win a 7th?
Yeah, I don't know how Kobe gets in the conversation, but Duncan doesn't.
I don't put Kobe in the top 3. That would be cool.
But a lot of people. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of people do. I think it's just because his game was so similar to Jordan, and Jordan was just a little bit better, or a lot better, however you look at it. But anyway, with the second pick, I'm gonna go.
We don't have enough position.
No, somehow I managed to not put small forward.
Yeah, I noticed. I was like, this is
Yeah.
like I'm only
No,
counting
I
4.
figured that out when I took LeBron. I was like, wait, I don't have a position for LeBron.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna go a little bit off kilter here. I don't think anybody's expecting this, but I'm gonna go Shaq.
Oh,
Damn,
man,
that's
I honestly thought about going Shaq at 3. I
Damn
think
it.
Shaq's the most dominant player at his position ever, no question.
Of all time. And I don't yeah.
I'm real upset because now I really have to think about my pick.
Yeah, I was really hoping he was going to follow me.
Yeah.
That's who I had penciled in.
Yeah. Give me. I mean, David Robinson was my boy, but you give me a Tim Duncan, Shaq,
Yeah.
Twin Towers, and that's unstoppable because you can't.
That's
There's
fair.
not
No,
one
that's
single
a-
person who can guard Shaq by himself in the
No,
post.
no.
Hell, I mean, I'm a Spurs fan, and I remember watching David Robinson and Tim Duncan, two of the greatest defensive big men of all time, get manhandled by one guy
Mhm.
over and over.
Until they fouled him. And then, he took,
Yeah.
then it was over.
Yeah.
You only
Yeah,
have so
like-
many fouls, though.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I don't know. I hate to do it because I don't like the guy all that much, but I'll go Kobe here just because I think it's my best
R.I.P.
pick. Look at me looking like a Lakers fanboy.
You are,
We're
dude.
two
You
Lakers
got all
right
the
now.
Lakers. You got James Worthy
Well, I was about to go
coming
one
up.
either way. So.
I feel James Worthy
Shaq.
coming. See, I look at Shaq as an Orlando Magic, man, because that's where I fell in love with
Yeah.
Yeah.
it. You know?
I look at Michael
One
Jordan
of
as a
those-
wizard, so it's okay.
Well, yeah, but you're also 8 years old, so I mean, there's that. I mean,
I feel like there's probably going to be a lot of Lakers on this list because they probably
They just
have
all
by
end up there.
default.
It's like the
Yeah.
Yankees. Like,
Yeah.
They just all end up at there.
at some point in LA.
all right, Benjamin.
Motherfuckers took my next two picks back to back on me. I'm gonna take Wilt.
Not that pick.
So I get 2.
Yeah.
Give me Kareem. I mean, you can't argue with that all-time scoring leader.
Give
For a few
Bron
more
maybe
years.
2 more years, I think, to catch him.
Maybe.
Bold prediction. Fast forward 15 years, Kareem's about 6 or 7 on that list.
Well, fast forward 6 more years, Kareem's probably dead. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, like, on that scoring list, like, a lot of guys would end up passing this way.
But you look at Kareem though. I mean, the dude was dominant at
No.
UCLA. He was dominant in Milwaukee, and
Yeah.
he was dominant with the Lakers. And he was 1,000 years old when he played with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so, and I'm drafting the Milwaukee Buck Kareem, not
Oh, yeah.
the Showtime Laker Kareem. You know, when he was young,
Yeah.
coming out of UCLA.
And we still run on the floor versus half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, shit, this next one. All right. My next pick is Larry Joe Bird from Indiana State University.
Larry Legend. I
You mean
watched
Brady
that.
Manic?
Yeah. Dude, they've seen that comparison, and I'm like, there's no fucking way. Like,
Why? It's just the white puffy hair and the
that's it. That's all they
terrible
got in common.
mustache.
That's all they got in common.
Is it not funny that every great white player gets compared to Bird? You know, like they're like
Dirk.
Luka, he's the next
Oh.
Bird. He's got to be. Instead of
Yeah.
maybe he's the next Magic.
And
But how about this? Maybe he's the next Luca. Like, can't
Yeah.
they just be their own player?
Well,
Like,
that's what Brady
he's
Manic
one
used
of
to
a
do.
kind.
what
That's
what
what
drives
they-
me nuts talking about people comparing him always to the next thing
Yeah.
is every year in ESPN's draft analyst or whatever, the Mavs are picking a 7-foot white dude from Europe, and he's going to be the next Dirk. Every year, it's been that way. And so
Yeah.
that's like the only thing that apparently, and like they got Dirk, and they didn't even draft Dirk; they traded for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't draft Luka; they traded for him.
Was it Golden State they drafted Dirk or something? I can't remember.
Milwaukee.
No,
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee did. They,
Yeah.
they traded Robert Tractor Trailer.
Tractor
And
And
trailer.
I remember that draft because people
Stole
were
that trade.
people
Oh,
were
yeah.
just like, who the fuck is Dirk Nowitzki?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people were pissed.
But if you
Yeah.
go back and watch, like, I guess there was an exhibition game,
Mhm.
and Charles Barkley
talked
at
about-
halftime was like, "Dude, this white boy was busting my ass all night." He was like,
Yeah.
"He dropped 45 on me."
Yeah, he was
Like,
trying
I
to
didn't know
talk
who this
him.
guy
in-
was.
Trying to talk him into going to Auburn.
Yeah.
He had to sneak out of Germany to come to that game.
Really?
I'm surprised. He was supposed to go to the army over there
Yep.
apparently, but I guess they were like gave him an exception because he was 7 foot tall, wouldn't fit in a fighter jet.
Yep.
Same with David Robinson, the sub.
So I got the next pick. I'm gonna take a leap down the list I have, and I'm gonna take Kevin Durant.
KD, the most mentally weak superstar in the NBA history.
Ooh, Kyrie Irving.
Very close.
Kyrie's just got fined for skipping out on media day.
Yeah.
The season hasn't even started.
He's
and
gonna
already
release
frozen
pressures
media.
all season.
I bet he misses that game on Christmas Day. They play the Celtics, they'll skip out.
Yeah.
How do you think that team's gonna do without like a clear, defined, strong leader? You know,
And James Harden wants to go there. That would be a meltdown. That's like the 3 biggest head cases in my opinion. Oh, I'm up. Dang.
Well, after Harden's weekend in Vegas, I don't know how.
He has to have 6 straight
any of that
negative
shit's
tests
gonna go.
to be able to go to practice. Because apparently
He clearly does not give a fuck.
no, he wants out bad.
He's getting paid. He don't care.
No.
Like, pay me, bitches. I don't.
yeah.
He wins either way. Like, I would go to Vegas if I knew I was getting paid $28 million to sit on my ass with COVID.
Mhm.
I would have a super spreader event at my house because fuck it,
Why not?
right?
Who else
Well,
you
I
take?
can buy some vaccine with that money.
Ben, who will be taking?
LeBron, Durant, and Wilt.
Oh, crap. Forgot Will already went.
Cool fact about Will, he was track star also and volleyball after he retired.
Could you,
Volleyball
could you
makes
imagine
sense.
that dude running the fucking hurdles?
Yeah, and high jump.
Like, he wouldn't even have to run, probably.
Yeah.
He just stepped over them. I guarantee you, his balls didn't even drag as he went by.
good.
That's why he's one of the few like centers on this list that like on the perpetual top 50 list or whatever
Yeah.
that I actually think could play in today's game.
Oh yeah, because he was
Just-
extremely athletic.
Yeah, you get a lot of those centers there, and they're from like the 50s and 60s, like George Mikan.
Yeah.
Like Mikan can't play in today's age. He just was 7 foot tall back when basketball was starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You know,
true.
and so like there's a whole list of centers on here that their names weren't getting on the list, but they couldn't play in today's game.
Yeah, see, I guess that was a question I wanted to ask before we started. Like, is this game being played in today's game? Because I would draft a completely different team than if I'm just saying conceptually a all-time great team. Because
Well,
I feel like I wouldn't
the
pick
thing
a,
is, you
like
would
Shaq.
never-
I know Shaq is obviously one of the greatest ever. But if you're playing against a team
Yeah.
built for shooting the 3, Shaq's gonna have a tough time. He's gonna get busted.
So that
Now on the
tells
offensive end, he's
Jokic-
gonna destroy you. But like, imagine Shaq trying to guard a Dirk out on the 3. I'm not saying Dirk's as good as Shaq.
I
but-
still think there's room for the big man today. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw what Jokic did in the playoffs.
Oh, Jokic can shoot.
Yeah. But yeah, true.
What would you
And
think?
handle.
But no one can guard him on the post
But,
either. Because
you
like-
know,
gotta
the big
think,
man
how
almost
many-
died with Shaq. If
Well,
you really
how many
think
of these?
about it. I
How
mean,
many of these centers though, if they'd
Shaq
grown
or
up
Yao?
in today's game,
Yeah.
would have learned to shoot the 3? You know. I mean, I'm not saying
Yeah, I
I'm not
do.
saying Shaq would have been a 50% shooter or a 45% shooter. But
his words were, I didn't have to.
yeah.
I mean,
So if he'd been
he's
playing
scoring
his
30
age-
no matter what. You know, he
Yeah.
wakes
Yeah.
up with 30 points, and that's with missing 10 free throws a game. You know,
Yeah.
Now you're right on defense, but I mean, how many centers in today's game are legitimate 3-point threats?
but if you're talking Orlando Shaq, he was still in shape.
Yeah.
He could guard
Yeah.
those guys on the
Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
perimeter.
Yeah.
If you're taking that one.
Yeah, and you could probably take every player on the opposing team and put it on his back, and he could
Yeah.
still beat you. I mean, that's how
Yeah.
strong that dude was.
Yeah. Have you seen the video of him in I guess it's at an All-Star game, warm-ups, being guarded by Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Just destroys him with his handles. It's like, the dude was actually
Yeah, he was more skilled.
all around than you
But-
thought he was.
When you got to the point where he was 350 and still athletic,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll just go in the paint and just score every time. He
At
was a
that,
great
at that
passer
point,
too.
he was
Yeah.
just a bust. I mean, that basically Jerome Bettis. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if he wasn't going to go over you, he was going to go through you.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
how that dude played,
Mhm.
and he knew, like they're gonna hack me anyway. They're
Yeah.
gonna foul me, so I'm gonna get my money's worth.
Yeah. And I'll go and throw my pick out. I'll go Bill Russell.
God damn it!
Nonetheless, for the defense.
I wanted that one.
There's your championship himself. Huh?
Yeah, if MJ's 6 rings are so important, why does Bill Russell not get any more love than he does?
Because there's 8 teams in. I
Because he was center.
No,
That's
I'm
true.
saying,
There was
like-
like literally no teams at those times
Mm.
too.
But if you look at his team, aren't there like 6 other Hall of Famers?
Kuzi,
From the
Havlicek,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it's basically
Sam Jones was on that
Yeah.
team.
It was basically an
Some of
all-star
those teams,
team.
they've been there for.
It's like
20
the
years.
Warriors from a couple years ago,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, with more all-stars.
Yeah. All right. Now it starts to get tough because I feel like all the guys that you can
Like the
argue
10.
as being the GOAT are kind of off the board for the most part. Let me see who all you guys take. I'm gonna go. Oh, you took Kobe.
Yeah.
Man, you screwed my draft up.
You took mine.
Yeah, but you have to go settle it physical combat.
Just do a drinking contest instead.
Well, you were a bartender. You already got like
We had
an
an
upper
advantage.
hand there.
Yeah, that's fair.
I need some guards. I need some shooters.
I see that list you got over there, Ben?
No.
So-
Make your own list.
So far, I've only got big men. You know what? I'm gonna go with who I think is the greatest shooter of all time, and I'm gonna go Steph.
Agreed.
It's a good pick. I was hoping to get him about another round or two.
Just because, I mean, if I got two bigs down low, and if I'm taking prime Duncan, he can play in the mid range too pretty well.
No,
And
he's
then-
got like that 15-foot jump shot. Is,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Steph is pretty much 40 feet in.
Yeah.
If I'm taking prime Steph, so I'm gonna go Steph. And I'm going back to back. Let's see, gonna need somebody on the wing. I'm thinking.
Jeremy Lin? Is this the this where he's
Is
last?
this him?
This is happening.
This is it?
This is how I can
Well,
feel
see,
it.
I'm such a homer. The first thing that goes through my head is all the Spurs players.
So you're going to put Ginobili?
And
Is that
then,
what you're going with?
I don't know if Ginobili's gonna make
Tony
a
Parker?
list like this.
Tony Parker?
I don't know if Tony would make a list like this if you're talking all-time greats. Which
Terry Cummins. I'm with Terry Cummins.
George Gervin would probably make a list, maybe.
The Iceman.
But I'm thinking I need somebody who can play a little more defense, and I'm gonna need somebody on the wing. I'm gonna go with Pitt. Go Scottie Pippen.
Just set my mind that that's what I was taking next. Like just like
Because
I'm taking Pippen.
he can play the point. He can guard anywhere from the 1 to the 4 just fine. He can run the floor. He does everything great. A lot of people don't remember when Jordan left. He was one game away from the finals. He carried him to, I think, 60 wins, 63 wins or something like
Yep.
that. Still, he got overshadowed because of Mike's greatness. I think
Yeah, you're
about
right.
how great he was.
So I took Magic earlier, and I actually think I'm going to play Magic at 3 or 4 on this team if the guy falls to me here in a little bit. I'm starting to get that territory where, like, the guy 12 through 50 are all, like, you can make an argument for any of these guys at this
no,
point.
no question.
So, I don't know. Actually, just for keep the ball rolling, I'll actually go ahead and I'll take Allen Iverson to be my point guard and move Magic to the 4.
That's a good one.
Mm-mm-mm. I considered that one.
Okay, with my spark plug off the bench. Alright, so me. Let's see.
That guy's incredible.
Oh yeah.
Now, him and Kobe on the same team, that might be a little interesting.
A lot of ego there.
A lot of
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah,
Gilbert
so-
Arenas get a lot of guns in there too, off my bench.
Just to,
Yeah. See, so far I've got team players. I mean, Shaq maybe not, but Pippen, Duncan, and Steph don't mind passing the ball.
Yeah, if you're going for a team that actually plays well together, you've got a pretty solid team so far.
Let's see here. This is when it starts getting hard. You're right. I need some defensive intensity, so I'm gonna take Kevin Garnett, a little
KG.
power forward.
I just figured he was going Rodman on that one.
No, but I will punch the person in the face that takes Rodman. just to let everybody at this table know.
Oh,
It'll
Dennis
happen,
Rodman.
but I couldn't do it this early.
I can't do it as a starter.
Alright, so I guess I'm up. I need a point guard and a power forward. And I'm going to go with the greatest point guard power forward combo of all fucking time in Karl Malone and John fucking Stockton.
Mm.
Back
Oh,
to
you
back.
got back to back. I was like,
Damn
but
straight.
that one person is Magic
Wait, which
Johnson,
one
and
are you
he's
taking
already
first?
gone.
I don't care. They're interchangeable.
Be an interesting team with MJ.
I considered Stockton here a second ago.
I was thinking about. I was like, if he's down, he's coming probably
I
7 or 8
hate
to
Karl
me.
Malone. Like he's one of my.
I hate Karl Malone too.
He is one of my least favorite players of all
But
time.
you put Stockton on that team, like my team, I've got Jordan, Malone, Kareem, and
So
Bird.
is that 5 picks for everybody?
I'm at 4.
I'm at 4.
I'm at 5.
This will be 5.
Yeah, he
so
just
right
got
back
5.
through.
So you'll come back.
Oh, okay, so I need. Oh, I have a name I scratched out, so I need to.
Yeah, Stockton. if Iverson was there, I was going to take Iverson, but I think Stockton is the shorts are fantastic, and the dude will pass the shit out of the ball.
Oh yeah. And he'll get a couple of rips too. Have some steals.
Exactly. And I had to have Malone in there as the power forward. I mean, they're a package deal almost. I mean, that's almost one pick. I should be able to pick another player.
I need a floor spreader, so I'm going to take Ray Allen.
Ray Allen. Whoa.
Didn't see
Ray
that
Allen
coming.
makes it on the all-time great.
I didn't
Oh,
see
yeah,
that.
he's a top 50 player of all time. Like, I'm trying to win the 7-game series here. I need
So with
my
18
team needs a shooter.
There's 32. There's only 32 spots though. He's top 32. You think?
Yeah, he is today.
Okay.
Couldn't find a shooter.
For the sake of
So
discussion.
it's my pick now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to move Magic again from the 4 to the 3 because people keep moving around.
You
I'm
can
going
go wherever you
to go
want.
Hakeem. We have a big boy line
That
up
was
here.
Olajuwon.
That's a good one.
Hakeem. Okay, yeah. Dream.
I've got Hakeem playing the 4, Magic playing the 3. It's a
There
big
you
boy
go.
team.
There you go.
Who you
It's
got-
Magic
who you
with
got
pretty good
center?
size.
Bill
Hakeem.
Russell
Russell.
or Hakeem. I mean, whoever.
It doesn't matter.
They're all massive.
So got a few guys I'm thinking. Oh, I got 2 back to back. I forgot. Let's do this.
I basically have the fucking 1995 Olympic team. Or the 92 Olympic team. Minus Kareem. He wasn't there.
Let's see which one of these guys gonna start. I'm gonna go back to back. Oscar Robertson,
Big O.
way before his time, could still play today and still be the same guy. I'm pretty sure.
Probably better.
Yeah, maybe yeah. And then this is a tough one. I got too many big men already. Well, not too many, but I guess my first 6 man. I don't know if I'm gonna take this. I'm thinking either. All right, let's just do it. He's probably he's one of my top 5 favorite players. Not greatest players, one of my favorite players of all time. I'm going with the round mound himself, Charles Barkley.
Thought about that instead of Hakeem, to be honest with you.
He was almost instead of Malone, but Malone's a more prolific scorer.
Yeah.
Gotta go and get my boy. Go take Dirk. Need some shooting. My last big man of the draft.
You can put him at the 2. He doesn't really rebound or anything.
No, he's only averaged 10 over his career. But,
Oh, did he average 10 really?
probably. Did he? Fun fact.
I told you that was
Dirk was the first player in NBA history to record 1,000 of every stat. Points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. The only other, actually, it's the only person ever. The next one would be LeBron if he's got like 30 steals
Hakeem
away, or
didn't do
30
that?
blocks.
What you said? Steals, assist. Hakeem didn't do that?
Don't believe so.
I mean, I believe you. I just would think that. I know Hakeem's in the probably top 25, top 20 in steals, maybe. In blocks, I would think. Definitely. Maybe not points. I don't know.
We'll take Dr. J.
Oh, that's what I was trying to decide between him and Chuck.
No, Hakeem is. I swear I saw that the other day. He was the first person.
I figured
Maybe
Hakeem would be
1,003.
Because it sounded wrong, because I figured there'd be other people, but
All right, so it's to me again. Damn it, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. All right, so I need scoring and defense. So my next 2 picks, I'm gonna go with Reggie Miller, arguably one of the greatest shooters of all time, and I'm gonna go with David Robinson behind him.
Oh, that
I
makes
feel like
nice.
the big men were deeper in this draft than I thought initially.
Yeah.
I think I started grabbing those too early, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably 8 or 10 all-time great big men just in the 90s alone.
Yeah, well, the '90s was the prime time for the big men because
Yeah.
you had Ewing,
Yeah,
you
David,
had
Shaq,
the dudes we just
Hakeem, yeah.
mentioned. I
I
mean,
mean, Ewing's a great player. Well, probably, I doubt he's going to go in this draft. I mean, I know we're 4 guys, but still.
all right,
like-
so I got one more pick, so this is the last round. We're just gonna do 8. Is that cool?
Okay. You have an 8?
No, I have
Or
7.
you? Oh.
So we're starting back at the top. He'll pick 2, and then we'll be done.
I have 6. Oh, this will be my 7th one.
Yeah, because you're picking.
All right, so once again, I'm trying to win a 7-game series, so don't laugh at me. I'm going to take the Greek Freak.
Giannis.
Not that big.
Okay.
And again,
I didn't even think about Giannis in this, honestly.
I'm going to
I
pull
never
it in.
considered him.
I'm trying to win a 7-game series. I need a shooter and some defense. Give me who I think is the second best shooter of all time and could possibly be the best. Give me Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson goes in the top 32.
There's no way.
All right.
If you're trying to build a team to win, like
Reggie
you're not
Miller
gonna find
would
a
eat
better
him
shooter.
alive.
Mm.
Reggie Miller's teeth would eat him alive. Just have you seen Reggie Miller's teeth? They're more
Pretty-
scary than
pretty
Reggie
scary.
Miller's.
If Reggie played in today's game, he would light it up, I think.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh man, okay. Well, I know who I'm gonna take with the first one. I'm trying to figure out who the back-to-back's gonna be.
Go ahead with this.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. Okay, I'll just.
Yeah, sure. I can see it.
I already know. I know who I'm taking on my last pick.
If he's there.
If he's not there, I'm fighting somebody.
All right, I'm taking D Wade first.
Ooh, I didn't even consider him.
It's not my pick.
Taking prime D Wade, Flash, who single-handedly beat the match. Well, he had a little bit of
Get a little bit of ref
a little
help.
bit of Shaq, a little bit of
A little bit of ref help.
I don't know, man.
Oh,
Maybe
I
a
know
little
all
bit.
about it.
All right, so D Wade.
Do we want to just finish our sheet out?
9 players.
Go 9.
Yep.
Just finish our sheet.
Okay.
We got plenty of time.
Okay.
We fucked around long enough.
So we're gonna finish it. Did you pick both yours?
I took D Wade, and now I'm gonna. Let me think. Let me check this little sheet that you got here, sir.
I'm gonna take him though. I mean, I'm going with my guy if he makes one more pick. Even though we're going 9, I'm gonna push
JJ
him last.
Barea. Is that who you're going with? JJ
He's a
Barea?
teammate. Been a
JJ
teammate
Redick?
in the past.
Jason Kidd?
Yeah, I don't even see him on that list, but I'm
Taking
thinking
Luka.
I want somebody who's gonna give me some flash. That's gonna give me, bring just a little spark off the bench. Just gonna get everybody hyped up with some amazing dunks.
J.R. Smith.
Dominique Wilkins.
Dude, I thought you was going to go Vince Carter.
I did too.
I was
That's where I
going
thought
back
that
and
was
forth
going.
between him, but I think Dominique's a better player. I mean, he's not. Vince is the best dunker of all time.
You took Wade and Wilkins.
I'm gonna take my boy. Gotta do it. He's gonna do it with my last pick.
Got
So we're
Luka.
gonna do it now. I'm taking Luka Magic.
All right. So let's just finish the sheet out. Since we,
Yeah.
I mean, I figured it would take longer to get here, but it just,
So it's back to me.
yeah.
I won't take him now because one of you assholes will do it with your last pick. Just pissed me off. And I'm going to take Rodman.
Fair.
It's
I
defense.
knew that was coming. All right, so I'm gonna
And
finish.
see, it's the thing. We'll pause here real quick. So you gave me crap about my Clay pick. I agree. Clay may not be a top 32 player.
Mm.
Dennis Rodman is not a top 32 player. But for the purpose of what we're doing right now, Dennis Rodman deserves a spot on a team. Klay Thompson deserves a spot on one of these
Well,
teams.
in my mind, Dennis Rodman's the greatest defensive player there was.
Yeah,
And probably the greatest rebounder.
There is not
No
a
question, the greatest rebounder.
Yeah.
there's not a all-time greatest list that I make that does not have Rodman on it.
Yeah.
He's the greatest rebounder of all time.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
a great
But,
a
like,
role
he's-
player too. He
yeah.
did what you
Yeah.
needed him
99%
to
of
do.
99% of the
See
time,
that
he's
stat they were
nobody's
sharing the
top
other day?
32 is what I'm saying. But like, he
that's
deserves a
because
spot on this team.
that's because when people start making these lists, like the first thing they look at is points.
Yeah.
Everything's points per game.
Well, it's always scoring.
Yeah, it's
Scoring is where it's
offensive
going to be.
Alex English is going to be on somebody's top 50 list
Mm.
because he scored a lot.
Rick Barry.
Rick Barry. But
Rick
you
Barry
wouldn't pick him in
loses
this
for just the
scenario.
way he shot free throws. I just can't do that. That don't
More
fly.
people should do it.
Don't fly for me.
Everybody should
If it
do
works, man. If it don't work, don't fix it.
All right.
Sorry, just wanted to get that Rodman comment in there because
No, that's fair.
he's not a top 50
That's
player.
a-
Probably.
He's a top 50 player.
in
Like,
your opinion, but most
like-
people aren't going to have him in a top 50 list.
No, because they're looking at scoring. They're
Well,
not looking at
I don't know.
overall.
A lot of the top 50 lists, I see he's in. If he's not in the top 50, he's in the 50s.
Yeah, but
So
even in this scenario, it'd be 32. And
I mean,
he's not there.
well,
Most people.
this is a list I pulled off of, like not ESPN, but one of the other like big NBA sites, and he's 51.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty normal, somewhere between like 45 and 60.
Yeah.
Shit. That's my idea to finish the page out. Well, let's see, I got 2 bigs, got 2 shooters. Man, alright, cool. We're gonna go with Jerry West.
Okay. The logo.
Well, I mean, for Christ's sakes, he's the logo of
Yeah.
the league. I mean, that counts for something.
Yeah. There's a reason.
And with the last pick, man, I'm torn. So torn here. Well, man, y'all are killing me. All right. Yeah, I mean, I need another point guard, so I'm gonna take Jason Kidd.
JK, a good one.
Can't go wrong with that.
There it is.
Shoots a little bit too.
Yeah, he does all right. I was kind of
Well,
torn.
if you're
man.
taking prime JK, wasn't a great shooter though. He didn't really
No,
become
he
a
That's
great.
is.
fair.
He didn't figure that out the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
of
he
his
didn't
career.
become a great shooter until.
Well,
tail
I
end.
wanted. I was almost gonna take Bill Laimbeer just to say
Yeah.
that way I can get in there to kick all you guys' ass.
Just somebody.
Somebody just to knock the fucking teeth
I don't know,
out.
man.
thought about
I
taking Ben
got
Wallace, to be
Shaq. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Bill Laimbeer was crazy enough to take him on.
Yeah.
Like Bill Laimbeer would get up in his face. Like he didn't care who. you
Rodman
were.
probably would have too.
I think Rodman did a few times.
Rodman did a few times.
So did Chuck. But I don't think they
Chuck
really.
still does.
I don't think they really.
I don't
really
think
wanted
they
this.
really wanted
Charles
it.
Barkley said the greatest thing that happened during that time he hit him with the ball was that everybody jumped in. He was like he did not want that. He didn't want that smoke.
Yeah, that's smoke.
No.
But I think Laimbeer would have. I think Laimbeer was just crazy enough.
Yeah.
Like fuck it, we're down.
Yeah.
You know, because you watch what that dude did on the floor. Like if he was coming at you,
Yeah.
you were going to be bleeding when it was all said and done.
Yeah.
But you know, he's not an all. I mean, that all he is my foul guy.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm my 2 T's, and he's
He's
done.
your Brian Cardinal.
Yeah, like if I need somebody to break LeBron's leg, that's
Wait.
who I'm putting in.
I was looking at the list. Did you take him?
No,
Oh.
I should have.
Okay.
I was
Bill
going-
Laimbeer made your list.
No.
Oh.
I was looking at my list.
Oh,
of
okay.
Bill
I was
Laimbeer's
like,
not even
whoa.
in the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
so I mean, no. But what I'm saying is, I was thinking if I need somebody to break LeBron's leg, I know who's going to do
Sitting
it.
there, just, all right, man. You got 6 fouls. Put
Use them all.
Yeah.
Well, use your flagrants, get him out of the way. You know, this is your guy. I don't care if you got to bite him, bring him down. I'll cover your fines. It's all good.
I'm gonna take a guy that I can't believe he's still on the list. But I'm gonna take as my backup center Moses Malone.
Moses Malone.
I just have a hard time relating with the sport back then. Like I don't, like, you know, I know the names, but like I don't know enough about the guys.
He was going out as we were kind of coming in.
Yeah.
He was on his way
Like I
down.
wouldn't even
Yeah.
thought back then. You know?
80s Moses Malone was a bad dude.
Yeah. Wicked athletic. One of the fastest dudes on the court.
Yeah.
I watched a documentary. It wasn't about him, but it talked about him, and it talked back in the day. Like the consensus was that he was the man. He was the best big guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It wasn't until later that, I mean, not later, but he basically dominated Wilton every time they met.
Yeah.
Like he was the guy
Yeah.
Yeah.
during his
Yeah.
time. You know, like but when you look back,
So many
So
other
it's
names
what-
have come
and-
through the league since then. You almost like forget those guys.
And you talk about like not relating to those guys. I had to call my dad today because it's like, listen, I'm making this list, and got a lot of recency bias going on, like
Yeah.
players from like '92 to now.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen
Who
other-
are some older
Yeah.
players that I'm not thinking about? And so,
Like again,
Well, a lot of those just get lost in the shuffle.
Mhm.
I mean, they really do.
it's hard when you're talking about the greatest. It's hard to stand out. Like you gotta really do
Well, I
something
mean, you
great.
think about the dudes that you see on a regular basis,
Yeah.
you know, and it didn't really explode until the 80s. I mean, if you think about it, it was the first real time that it got like crazy with the NBA was the not Jordan, but Magic and Bird,
Yeah.
you know, because they,
we talked about this on that last podcast
yeah,
too.
that's where it started. And then the new sheriff came into town, and then it was all about that motherfucker until he quit.
Still is.
Well, I
A
mean,
little back to a sentence, it still
yeah,
is.
I mean, he is still mentioned.
You
And
don't hear LeBron's name without MJ tagged to it somehow.
Oh yeah, and that's LeBron's albatross right there. I mean, that's going to be. But the thing is, if you ask LeBron, he's going to say, you know, Mike's the man.
So I got a theory for your question. You flip the guys. LeBron plays in MJ's time. He's grown up playing in that type of league. The game is different, but what I'm saying is,
He's the same
would
guy.
it be the same scenario with MJ being compared to LeBron?
Yeah. LeBron's 6'9", 240, 250. I think he can take the physicality.
Yeah.
He's probably the greatest driver of all time, of like just getting to the rim, and he's a great passer. I mean, but and that he's still the same guy. And then Jordan is maybe averaging another 5 or 6, 7 points adding on in today's game. He wasn't like a great 3-point shooter.
Yeah, but what I'm
for a
saying
while.
is like,
Well, I
would you
think
be
Jordan
talking
gets
about
the
Michael
line
Jordan
more
comparing
today.
him to LeBron had LeBron come first?
Oh,
like,
okay,
would
I
it be
got
the
you.
same?
I got you.
Whoever's first, is it because that was the first guy that was
I see what you're saying.
clearly that
Yeah.
much better than the rest
Well,
of the
the
league?
thing about Jordan, though, and this is just because I lived it, he just completely. The only thing I can equate him to was when Tiger Woods hit the scene.
Yeah, he was a worldwide phenomenon.
It was just. I don't care how good he was.
But he was because he was so much better than anybody that had ever played
He
the game
was
at that
he was
point.
head and shoulders above every motherfucker on the floor, and they knew everybody knew that. You know, when you knew it was going to start, this was in the '86 Eastern Conference Championship. This was still prime Magic Bird time, right? They were playing Chicago, a young Chicago team. Michael Jordan by himself, like no nothing.
Back when he wore the chain.
He wore the chain and his shorts were about this big. I swear his balls hang out most of the time. But when Larry Bird in the post-game presser, he goes, "That was not Michael Jordan on that
Oh,
floor.
yeah.
That was God dressed as Michael Jordan." That was he dropped 63 points on him. On a and there's 3 Hall of Famers on that team.
Yeah.
Because you had Parrish, you had McHale, and you had Larry Bird, and he gave them every bit. And he was by himself. Because he named another player on that '85 Bulls team. You can't.
Bill Cartwright.
Bill
Or was that
Cartwright was
later?
not on that team.
It's like the only other random bull I know.
Like later down the road, but you couldn't name another player on that team. Like, and it was all him.
But so do you think that it was so? It's kind of even like today. You take a guy who's really, really great at scoring, and you give him nobody else that can really do it. Or do they seem better because they don't have those guys? Like James Harden, I know he's talked about as a revolutionary scorer, but it's because he has the ball in his hands more than anybody else in the league at all times, and he's a great
But
scorer.
does he have the ball in his hands more than anybody in the league because he's such a great scorer? Like you can
Well,
flip the coin on those two.
But part of
I
the reason
think
he's
he's not
considered
that-
revolutionary though is they've kind of altered the rule on what a walk is.
yeah.
And so he's
gotta gather
came up
step.
with a new
Yeah.
a new few
Found a
moves that
loophole.
10 years ago, you couldn't pull that move off. You were
Yeah.
getting called a walk. every
Now he's
time.
got the one-legged 3-point
Mhm.
shot that he hits with regularity.
the step back.
But he's also not that efficient.
Yeah.
Like, he turns the ball over a lot of
Mhm.
turnovers. Doesn't play defense a whole lot.
He gets a lot
Again,
of
you
steal-
can, like, I can
he gets a
flip
lot of
the coin on
steals,
those.
but they're like
he turns the ball over a lot
backside.
because he has such high usage rate.
Yeah, so
Like,
it's
you can flip it on everything.
very, very, yeah.
See, I think where these dudes, and don't get me wrong, they're greats, but I think for me, and this is just me personally, where I lose interest in them is they ring hunt. Like, we get together, like LeBron.
Mhm.
Jordan didn't leave. He's like, y'all come play with me. And y'all didn't do shit. That most of that team was homegrown.
Okay.
You know,
I'm gonna defend LeBron on this one. Jordan didn't have to leave because they drafted Pippen, who turned out to be a lot more than what anybody thought.
oh sure.
And they brought guys in. They brought in Ron
Cleveland was
Harper.
nothing.
They brought in Harper. They brought in Rodman.
Rodman. They brought guys in.
But they won without Rodman. Remember that?
Yeah,
they
that's
won
very
3
true.
without him.
But that was okay. So if you just look at LeBron left after year 7 in Cleveland.
Who was the second best player? Mo
Who's
Williams?
Mo Williams, maybe a 38-year-old
Well, see,
Shaq.
he was the '85 Jordan Jordanaires. That's
Yeah.
what that was called, the Jordanaires.
So you can't get mad at him in my opinion, you can't get mad at him for leaving the first time.
Yeah.
'cause they
But that's
didn't
for
do
me.
anything
That's
to
where
make
it just
better.
loses the luster. 'Cause
I
you
like
know,
it because I feel like the players have maybe too much power now, but I like the way they have more power instead of just the owner's like, okay, I drafted you and you're mine until I
Forever.
decide to trade you. And then if I trade you, it's okay. If I trade you to anybody, it's okay. But if a player decides to sign somewhere else, like if you think about, like Anthony Davis forced his way out. LeBron never forced his way out. He played through every contract
that's true,
and then
that's true.
left. He didn't pull Kyrie. He's like, trade me or I'm not going to play. He never did the...
That's something James Harden may be doing.
Yeah,
He's
he's doing it right now.
He's doing it right
trade
now.
me, I'm not gonna he didn't force his way out, which is why I respect him more, because he finished his contract out and then he left. Probably shouldn't have did the big not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
the announcement is
Yeah,
where
probably
it
shouldn't have done that.
got
but,
a bad taste in your
Yeah.
mouth
Yeah.
too.
but at least he did it the right way. I mean, they didn't get him any help there in Cleveland
That's
that
true.
first time
I mean,
around.
But you look at with Jordan and them, and for him it didn't really turn around.
Charles Barkley ring hunted. He went to go play with Keem. So did Pippen later
Yeah, but
on.
he was 175 years old when he went to play with Keem. You got to remember who else was on that
No.
team. Clyde Drexler was
Yeah,
also.
Drexler, he was ring hunting.
And he was also
Yeah.
600 years old.
I don't think Pippen went ring hunting. The Bulls didn't keep him. They
Bulls
ran,
cut
they ran
yeah,
him
okay,
off.
true.
So
When Jordan left, they blew it up because they were gonna. Originally, all their eggs were in the Tony Kukoc basket. You know,
He was the next coming.
that was it. That was the guy, and then of
He was
course,
the next Larry Bird. 'Cause his wife-
well, the thing is, they fucked up and they put together the dream team to go play this dude, and he was
Yeah.
playing for Croatia at the time, and these dudes had never seen no shit like that.
yeah.
I mean, you're on the floor with Jordan, and then, of course, if you watch the documentary, that's where I'm coming with all this.
Yeah.
Jordan and Pippen are like, that motherfucker's ours.
Yeah.
They didn't hold him like 4 points one game or
They
something.
beat the shit
the first
out of
game,
them.
yeah.
How sucky is that got to be the guy that you got the best two defensive, probably yeah at the time the best two defensive players in the world pissed off at you, and you don't even know why. You just
Yeah,
Was
it's
Rodman
nothing,
over there at the
it's
same
nothing.
time?
You
Just
Rodman
kid.
didn't play in the Olympics.
Okay, I was thinking like
The 92 Dream
Rodman's
Team,
not the kind of guy you
in
see
my mind, the
represent
92 Dream Team is the greatest team ever
fair.
assembled.
No, it's just to North Korea.
is it because Christian Leitner's on that team too? Is
Well,
that-
Shaq was going to be on that team, but they thought he was too big of an ego,
Yeah.
so they
On the
didn't.
great team?
Yeah.
That was the reason.
Trivia,
So
I'll
you
have
got
to bring this
Michael
up.
Jordan and
that's why,
Larry
like,
Bird.
you
You think
already
he's
got,
got
like,
You
too
throw an
big an ego?
18-year-old Shaq in there.
Yeah.
Because Shaq, remember, Shaq was still at LSU. The reason Leitner was on that team was because
No,
A,
championship.
no, he was the Naismith Player of the Year, and so they had to have one amateur.
Yeah.
And all right, you already had two bigs. You had Olajuwon and you had David Robinson. How the hell do you think David Robinson would stomach a fucking 18-year-old Shaq?
Yeah.
He couldn't have.
Oh.
Neither could Patrick Ewing. And then you already got three of the biggest egos in the world in Karl Malone, Michael Jordan, and Magic Johnson.
And Charles Barkley.
Well, Barkley was the biggest lip. And you know who the biggest scorer of that team was? It
Charles
was
Barkley.
Barkley. Barkley was the lead
Yeah.
scorer of that team.
For a long time, Charles Barkley was the second best player in the world
Well, yeah.
behind Jordan.
Mm.
Yeah. He got overlooked.
But, I mean, you look at that team, like, you had...
And the thing is, one of the guys that got snubbed from that team is because of Michael Jordan.
Isaiah
Isaiah Thomas
Thomas.
should have been on that team.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with John Stockton, though.
No.
That's
You
whose
can't.
spot he was going to take.
But I'm just saying, I don't care what anybody says. There's some drama that went on
Isaiah
that
Thomas
kept
is an
Isaiah Thomas on
asshole,
that
too.
team.
I mean, that's
Yes,
just...
but what I'm saying is like, how many other personalities could have been on
Yeah.
that team?
Of course, Jordan says it
Dude,
wasn't
there was-
because of him.
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd put a lot of money that it was.
Jordan probably handpicked that team.
Yeah,
Aside from
probably.
Leitner, he probably
Yeah.
handpicked that
He's
team.
like, I don't care who amateur you get.
Well,
Ain't
I
gonna
thought
do
this
nothing
earlier
anyway.
when we were talking about Leitner earlier. I wonder if how much, because coming out of college, he was, going to be a Hall of Famer. He was unbelievable at college.
Sure.
I wonder how much of him being kind of a bust in the pros came from being on the Dream Team and just being treated like the fucking redhead stepchild.
Well,
Oh, you know he was the bat boy on that
Yeah,
team.
that's what I'm
If you'll
saying. right?
remember that
like, I
Dream
bet his
Team-
confidence took a hit.
That
being
Dream
treated like a
Team-
little
Your
kid.
first pro ball
Yeah.
is against.
that Dream Team lost the first game they played.
But they didn't play Jordan, though, did they?
Yeah, Jordan played.
Well, he didn't start, right? Or something like that?
No. They went out and they handpicked this team of college kids that were
Yeah.
fresh. These dudes, the NBA players were just coming off, and then these college kids whipped their ass.
We'll see if you watch the Magic Bird documentary.
Yeah.
He said that Mike didn't play a whole lot that game.
He may not have, but
Like,
still, you
yeah.
still had fucking
Very
Magic
true.
Johnson,
Yeah.
Larry Bird,
Yeah.
all the
All
rest
other
of that
guys.
team.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Mullin, for Christ's sakes, you still
Yeah.
they
I
should
forgot
still
about
beat
Chris
a bunch
Mullin.
of dudes.
Have you seen the thing about the greatest game that was never played? That they
The
talk about
scrimmage?
the scrimmage.
Yeah.
Well, to have been a fly on the wall in that stadium.
Oh, that's when
Really
they played
should.
against each other.
Yeah.
It was Mike against
Those
Magic.
practices, and also when Mike was shooting the Space Jam to stay loose, he would fly people out, and they would play 5-on-5 games.
Mhm.
Just them.
How come Magic never gets mentioned in that GOAT conversation? He's got 5.
He should. I mean, that's why I took him my first pick.
He lost maybe another couple years, of, maybe not his prime, but another couple years that he could have been in the league. Maybe
Magic
got a
is
couple
in
more.
my top 3.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no question. You know, if it wasn't for Jordan, I would have picked Magic if I had to.
If you'd had second or third pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that dude, he was a leader for starters. Like an enormous point guard, could play anywhere.
He played center in the finals his rookie year.
Yeah,
he did.
Won the title.
Yeah.
Yep.
Since we're going to talk in this real quick, let's finish it out.
Oh,
yeah.
shit, I didn't forgot.
Yeah, I still got one more pick.
We
You
go
got
with a
one more
recent
too?
one here.
No, I'm done. I'm done. We're staying with 9. I'm done.
I'm going to go Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi. I love the Kawhi Leonard until he left the Spurs, and I have hated him ever since with the
You
passion.
got good reason.
With the passion. He was supposed to be our next. Spurs is supposed to be a great team forever in my eyes. that was the, and he was the next coming. Well, we're perpetually a 50-win team if he's still there, and Pop's gonna live to 100. So when we keep Kawhi, we're a 50-win team throughout my lifetime. Not my lifetime, but
It's
for the
crazy how good the Spurs have been.
yeah.
A lot of that came down to, like, I guess there was a big drama with the medical staff.
Yeah,
He
well,
didn't trust a lot of what they were
and
doing.
Tony Parker called him out in the media, and he's a little bigot, whatever. My last pick is not a top 50 guy. I would argue he's a top 100. And the only reason I'm going to say this is because he is the only player to ever win an NBA championship, a European championship, and an Olympic gold back to back to back. And he beat the U.S. to do it. And that's Emmanuel Ginobili.
He's Argentinian, isn't he?
Yeah, but he played in the European league.
Yeah, and he played a Euro, but the Olympic team was Argentina.
Yeah, well, yeah, he played for Argentina Olympic team, but they beat the U.S. to win.
Yeah,
When you were describing those things, I was thinking about the Gasol brothers.
I thought it was going to be Sabonis.
Arvidas Sabonis.
Or not Sabonis. Shit.
We was talking about the Blazers earlier.
Or the Demotis' son. His son's pretty good, too.
No, what? Yeah, Sabonis. Yeah. He didn't come over until, like, last few years of his... And playing in the NBA the last few years of his career.
It's good. He was probably the first really, really big man that was hitting a three, though, right?
Yeah.
He was old as shit when he started in the
Yeah.
NBA. I mean, he was a grandfather, I'm pretty sure.
Most people that talk about him when they talk basketball say he would have been an easy top 50 guy
Yeah.
if he had played his career over here.
So here's a what if that obviously doesn't make this conversation, but what about Petrovic?
Drazen?
Petrovic? Played like
I don't
2
know much
years
about him, to
before-
be
I
honest.
don't know him well enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know his game.
Come
Well,
on,
look
what
at
if
me. I'm
stories?
a baseball guy.
Yeah.
nowadays.
I don't know much about him, honestly. But I think Ginobili, I mean, he spent his majority of his career on the bench. But if you talk to any of the top guys who played against him at the time, they all had even Kobe, they all had mad respect for
That dude took a
Ginobili.
beating night in, night out, too.
Yeah.
Didn't care.
Some of that was a little acting.
Yeah, I mean, he was a
Yeah,
flop.
but like,
Yeah,
flop.
He was a
he
flop.
invented the flop, which, if Harden can travel and bend the rules, then why not? And do that, whatever. But, he brought the Euro step. He was the first guy to really utilize the Euro step. He was extremely athletic, which at the time, like, wow, it's a white guy that's athletic, just dunking on guys. And he could play the point, he could play the two, he could play the three. Great. And to be one of the main guy to beat the American, that wasn't the dream team, sorry, but to beat the American Olympic team, that's huge.
What year was that? 8 or 12?
I don't
They
remember.
had 16. I think they won 16. They won 08. Or 12.
I don't remember.
Because then the next one was called the Redeem Team.
Yeah, that was Kobe, Bron, D Wade.
Yeah.
But you know who was missing from all these lists? It's been one of the bad boy Pistons. I know Rodman's there, but you don't
Isaiah
really
Thomas?
put him with that. But who?
Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah, but you didn't put him on here.
No, I thought you said that was missing.
And that's what we're saying. No
Oh.
one's drafted these dudes.
Yeah.
And that team was one of the baddest teams on the floor.
Dr. J didn't go.
Dr.
Yeah,
J did.
I
Yeah.
took J.J.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he took him.
Okay. I didn't hear that one.
Good.
So that's a all-time great that didn't.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the guys that the Jordans looked up to.
Yeah.
In the
Well-
Barclays, they looked up to the Dr. J.
On this top 50 list, the first...
Probably like a Haviland.
Gervin was
I took-
tough. I considered George Gervin.
Yeah.
So
He's
at
definitely
my team, they have Elvin Hayes. Nobody took him.
I don't have a problem with Elvin Hayes. He's all right.
Walt Frazier,
Clyde.
John Havlicek,
Havlicek got the benefit of Bill Russell too, though.
yeah,
I mean,
George Gervin and Rick Barry, and Isaiah Thomas. Those are the ones that didn't go in the top 30.
see Isaiah
And
Thomas.
Alex English at 32.
The thing about Isaiah Thomas, he rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but that dude, he was badass.
Yeah.
I mean, He was just badass. And it pretty much, I mean, they won 2 titles back to back.
Yeah.
Unseated the Lakers. Beat the Jordan Bulls.
Beat the Celtics.
I mean, that team was badass. Badass.
So I'm trying to think like all the players that. It's another current guy that I thought about for like this 8th spot on the team, but like fast forward 5 to 10 years, you could probably make an argument for an Anthony Davis type of guy to make this.
Sure.
It was between him and Moses Malone.
Well, see, if you look at though,
Because he plays 1 through 5.
Yeah.
2 through 5 for sure.
2
but,
through
like,
5.
He probably put him at 1 if he had to.
Yeah.
KG
He should
did that.
shoot a 3.
KG played 1 through 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to take players that were could play multiple
Yeah,
positions.
flexible.
Yeah.
I feel like 15 years from now we're going to be saying Zion, barring injury.
man,
I think he's-
that dude's
I think
an
it's looked good.
anomaly.
I want him to be really good, but I think he's an injury risk. I think we're going to get 3 or 4 years
Ever
of
since-
Zion and he's going to
When he blew that shoe out, and dude,
Yeah.
that's when I knew it was going. It was all going downhill. Because
Yeah.
that dude is just.
If he could trim 10 pounds of, I mean, it's hard to trim. So I was listening to him talk, and they were, it was one of the health guys talking about him. They were like, we've never seen a player like this because no matter what you do, he puts on muscle so easily. It's like if he works out at all, it just bulks up muscle.
So you could almost have to put on like straight cardio routine.
Yeah,
or something.
and which is
And see, the
Not good.
thing is about him right now, though, the sample size. We could be incredibly wrong. The sample size is
really small.
Is a peanut. You know, it's nothing.
But just the way that he moves, especially in the air.
Well,
At his
even the
size.
sample size at Duke, but when you seen him at Duke, it was clear that this
The dude
dude
Oh yeah.
was a
I mean,
monster.
the 20-something games he played this year. I mean, outside the bubble, because when he came in the bubble, he was out of shape.
Yeah.
But before that, I mean, the dude was a beast. The few games he started on
See,
the minutes
what?
restriction,
You talk
he
about being out of
double-double.
shape. That's one of the problems. I see him as a Shaq type. Like, No. I'm not
Yeah.
saying same guy. I'm saying
Yeah.
Shaq, Charles Barkley.
comes in lean, mean, like
Yeah.
just 1,000% body mass, muscle. You
Yeah.
know, like 1% body fat. Like he's got some fat in his toenails. And then all of a sudden, like he marries Taco Bell. I
The
think
thing
that's
is, he
where
may
he
live in the worst part.
And he
yeah, I was gonna
lives
say
in-
New Orleans is
exactly.
the worst place for him to live.
Yeah. And he could not have got. You're right. He could not have gotten drafted in the worst spot, and it ain't because it's a bad spot to play.
Couldn't have sent him to
Some
Toronto.
of the best
Ain't no
food in the
food
world.
on the
It's
food
too
chain,
much.
but
No, man, that
Food
motherfucker
team.
need to go to Utah or something.
Yeah.
Because there ain't shit to do there.
Mormons out there just
Yeah, the
starving to
Mormons
death.
are like, here, eat these
Yeah.
potatoes. Like, that's not what I'm into.
Yeah.
No, he had to go to Cajun
like
food.
shrimp and grits 7 days a
No
week.
shit, and that's the problem. Zatarans is Zataran sponsors the goddamn team, so he be eating that dirty rice and shit all the
Yeah.
time. You
If
know?
I'm the team or the team owner, I hire a
Yeah.
personal trainer, chef to live with him or live right beside him. I'll buy this guy a house, and his only job is to make you food every day.
Put one of those blood sugar monitors in his,
Yeah.
in his bag.
This is all this guy. If you go on vacation, I'm sending him with you, and
Yep.
the owner, I'm covering every expense.
You better
Because you
get
know
ready.
it's gonna be their
You're
word.
going out on a
it's-
date.
What's he gonna look like coming off this 2 or 3 month break here or there?
Yeah.
Like it's just gonna be his kryptonite.
But supposedly now they're saying he's in shape. He's not gonna have a minutes restriction. I just like he has that same spark that you saw when LeBron first came in the league. Where you're like, you're not supposed to be able to do that at this size. You know.
Well, the thing is, like you said, you're right, and it's going to have to be one of those things where you're going to believe it when you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the sample size is too small, so it could go either way. I
Yeah.
mean, he could come back and be like chipped of stone, or he could come back like the Great White Hype.
Tractor trailer.
Fucking dude. He ain't seen his dick in like 4 days, you know.
Okay, like Sean Kemp, who
Yeah.
went from which I forgot about Sean Kemp,
Oh,
honestly,
God.
and Gary
Gary the
Payton.
Glove.
Forgot about Gary. I forgot about the Sonics. Oh, deadlift
Dude,
shrimp.
that
I know
team,
it's true.
Sean
Holy
Kemp.
shit! I forgot somebody I should have picked.
You know,
Another.
last pick you can swap him out.
I should have taken Peja Stojakovic because
Shoot.
that dude.
I thought
was-
you were gonna say. I heard deadlift shrimp come out. That's my nemesis. I
Oh,
hate
you
that.
hate deadlift
Oh
shrimp?
God. Like,
Pulled that card the other day too.
dude,
right away.
we were pulling cards, like, and I bought the 94, 95 Fleer, so there was a tall boy card, and I was opening these motherfuckers up, and I got
First one.
deadlift shrimp after deadlift. I was like, God damn it, we need this motherfucker. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you forget about that Sonics team too, because '96 they took the Bulls 6
This
games.
is the best team the Bulls played in the finals, probably.
Well,
A lot
I
of,
don't know.
a lot of
Those-
people will argue it. I don't know the teams
Those
well enough,
back-to-back
but
Jazz teams were pretty badass. But
Yeah.
that 96 year, they were coming off 72 wins.
yeah.
And Gary Payton will say that he intimidated Jordan. Jordan will say Gary Payton just a bitch, you know.
I took that personally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
That's the best quote out of that whole documentary.
Dude, it has lived. The memes off that are
Yeah.
so funny.
Well,
That was the best
some of the
quote.
have
ones.
you seen the tiny Kyler meme?
Mm-mm.
So they're Kyler Murray, obviously switching football for a sec. Little bitty guy.
Oh,
There's
sure.
a meme of him. They like photoshopped MJ out of the chair and put this little bitty Kyler Murray on it.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
when Kyler doesn't win MVP and it says, and I took that personally. It's like this little bitty Kyler Murray in the chair. It's so funny.
Yeah. You forget about those Sonic teams. I mean, because they weren't overly flashy.
Because they're not there now.
Well, yeah. Sean Kemp, though, that guy, if he didn't steal shit from Kentucky, he would have been one of the greatest Kentucky players there ever was.
If he didn't become alcoholic and put on 40 pounds, you know, like that dude could jump out of
By the time
gym.
he was in Cleveland, it was
He was the new
sad.
tractor trailer.
It
He
was
was
sad.
huge.
Like he was in bad shape. You know, and you didn't see that coming from him either. But you know, the dude had some emotional issues, so there was that. But yeah, the Rain Man. I had posters of that dude on
Yeah.
my wall. Dude, he was a bad mother. Because you're right, he could fly literally.
Yeah.
Like he would take off and he would just like he would jump from the other free throw
Yeah.
line.
Gliding through the air.
He just
He
fly.
makes Blake Griffin look like he can't jump. You know,
Yeah.
like that kind
Yeah.
of like athleticism.
I mean, the only other dunker that you could probably put in the same category as him would be Vince Carter,
Oh yeah.
and that's really it as far as the flashiness and flying
Yeah.
goes. I mean, Jordan was great at it, but they would have whipped Jordan's
Oh yeah.
ass in
Yeah.
this contest.
Duncan, yeah.
Dominique.
Dominic Wilkins got close, but man, Vince Carter.
It looked like he was just suspended
Blind,
in the air.
yeah, like he's just hanging there for a while, you know.
Well, the shit Vince Carter did, like the between the legs and then in the air and just everything. Vince Carter was incredible. Sean Kemp was close, but I mean,
And the thing is, going back to this guy we just talked about. Fast forward some years, Zion can dunk. That dude floats too.
well, yeah, that's
Like,
the thing. I
it's-
mean, but the
Yeah,
sample
but
size.
his are tomahawks and
Yeah,
power
but-
dunks and stuff like that.
But he's like
There's
a-
not a lot of like flair.
There's no flash. to
Again,
it.
not saying he's these guys, but like he's a little bit of the Vince Carter mixed with the Shaq, because he's got the Shaq power on a dunk, but he's got a little more of the float.
Yeah, he does. And but like I said, I mean, the sample size is still really fucking.
That's where I'm
small.
worried. Is I've seen 19 regular season games or however many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some other snubs that we forgot. I'm gonna throw one out. If we're talking prime, what about Prime D Rose? I know he never.
That's one of the great. Him and Jason Williams are two of the greatest what if stories.
So
I think.
My
I
issue-
mean, you look at that dude. He's probably going to be the only player to ever win MVP that didn't make the Hall of Fame. Because if you look at it, every player that's ever won the MVP award
Yeah.
has went in the Hall of Fame. And I don't think it's going to be Derrick Rose.
my issue with Derrick Rose is
Jason
prime.
Williams won
Most people
MVP.
refer to.
No. The what if stories.
Oh, okay.
I have
Yeah,
two
you
what if
transitioned
stories
there.
with those
Okay,
Bulls.
gotcha.
You know, Jason Williams from Duke.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
yeah, I got you.
Jay
I was
Williams.
thinking Jason Williams, Sacramento.
No.
From the Mike
White
Bibby
chocolate?
trade. Yeah.
Yeah, no. That dude was a bad motherfucker.
Yeah,
too.
he was.
My
But
issue
no,
with,
I'm
like,
talking
the
about
D-Rose
Jason Williams
yeah.
from Duke.
I got you. Yeah.
D-Rose, his prime was so small. It was like
Yeah.
a 2-year window. Like, I have a hard time saying that was truly a prime as small as it was. I know it's got short of injury and everything,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
that sample size is too small going
Well,
back.
D
to
Rose
that.
is such a what if, and then Jason Williams, his samples was even smaller.
You got one season.
Yeah, by a motorcycle crash, and that was it. Now he's just gonna put up Keyshawn Johnson's ass all day. I mean,
That is the worst sports radio show.
I don't even,
On
yeah,
radio.
I can't.
they
Like-
could not have chosen. Because
No. Like,
all-
they
all-
should have just stuck with Gullit Jr. and the dude that he was talking to in the
Well,
mornings with the
you know, anytime Keyshawn Johnson irritates me because if you went to USC, he's going to suck your dick the entire time that you're on.
What's up, Trojan?
Yeah, all the time. Like he's talking
Hate
about
that
Sam
fucking
Darnold.
person.
Sam Darnold doesn't suck. Dude, have you fucking seen Sam Darnold play? Did you see Sam Darnold play at USC? You could bank on 2 interceptions. 2 a game. Per
Minimum.
game. Like, yeah. If he wasn't throwing 2 interceptions, he wasn't playing. And that's the thing. They're like, oh, we're Trojans together. Because y'all are a bunch of cocksuckers. That's the problem. You know,
Mark
you're just
Sanchez,
fluffing
Matt
them.
Leinart in there too.
Yeah. Like, he probably thinks Mark Sanchez is the greatest thing in the world. Like, the butt fumble was a great play.
Heads up
Fuck
play.
you.
I mean,
And then my favorite Keyshawn Johnson. I hate that dude.
you are going in right now.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you my favorite Keyshawn Johnson moment. He was. This was when he played in Carolina. He played there for like a flash in the pan.
Okay, I remember.
All right,
vaguely.
He was on the draft panel. Him, Mel Kiper, Berman. He was the. They always have an active player usually. He was the active player that time. And of course, he loves to talk and shit. And Carolina came up, and it was like second or third round, and they took Mike Williams.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I can't wait to welcome you to the team. Get ready to play and shit." The next day, they fucking cut Keyshawn Johnson. That made me so happy. Yeah, because
That's funny.
I'm just still angry that ESPN cut off all the local shows.
Well-
it's all national now. Like I went from listening to basically like podcasts and ESPN in my truck to now I have to listen to the ticket.
I don't mind Goat Jr. and Chene Abuma. I can't say her last name.
I listen to them in the
Abuma.
evenings,
Abumake,
Yeah, something
Abumaway, Abumake, I think.
but normally like,
a whim away.
Something like that.
but I'd go to my truck like at lunch and listen to the Dallas guys and talk at lunch and stuff
Well,
like
Bennett
that.
Skin you can still get
Yeah.
on the ticket,
Yeah,
but ESPN just kind of shot the. Of course, they laid off everybody.
yeah.
So
There's not a lot of analysts that I really like to listen to. Like, I can't stand Stephen A. Listen to him
Oh
talk.
god, no.
I can't stand Skip Bayless.
I like Nick. I'm a big Nick Wright guy.
Y'all are gonna laugh, but my favorite dude is Dan Levitard.
Really?
Dude, Levitard and Stugatz are the shit. And it's because they do
Did
this.
Levitard just leave?
Yeah, he fuck him. He's out. They laid off half his staff. But he's like, he doesn't just talk sports. Like, he has Rod McGill on. Like, he's the Miami Zoo guy.
Oh,
That
wow.
has nothing to do with sports, but they're talking animals and shit, like
Yeah.
how to sex alligators. And that's why I like, and his dad. Like, you ever watch Highly Questionable?
The old man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Poppy.
It's pretty funny.
It's fucking great, and that's why I like, because he didn't take himself too seriously. And then,
Yeah.
of course, he lost his baseball Hall of Fame vote because he went on Twitter and he's like, "Who wants it?" Like, he had a contest. It was
Really?
like whoever won the little I remember how it worked out, but he was like an essay contest or some shit. I'm just throwing that. I don't remember what it was, but it was some kind of Twitter poll contest or some
Wow.
shit for his Hall of Fame vote. Like,
Why not let the people?
you fill out my ballot, and they kicked him off the next year. They're like,
Yeah.
"You're gone."
Mm.
But that's why I like that dude, because he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah.
But in the serious moments, like when Jose Fernandez died, the pitcher for the
Yeah.
Marlins,
Mm.
that dude was in tears because he knew him, and he was talking about it and shit like that. So I mean, he's good when he's good, and he's great when he's not good. That's why I love him. But the other dudes just take themselves too seriously.
Well, I like
way too
Wilbon
much.
and Kornheiser.
Kornheiser I like.
Yeah.
Wilbon is good. I mean,
And
they bust each other's balls pretty hard.
I like this dude just because I like to hear the shit that he comes up with to say is Shannon Sharp. Skill, come on, Skill, man. Go home, give me some of them black and them miles. I'm on
Man,
that
I
hen
just-
dog.
I just
Brings
wait
that dope
for shit
mask
to
up
fall
to
out of
the-
his
Yeah.
nose. His nostrils look like
That guy is in incredible shape. And how old is he now?
161, I believe.
And in better shape than you could ever get into.
Oh yeah, there's no question. And and he was underrated as a tight end too. I mean,
Yeah.
he was underrated coming. And who really was badass in that family was his brother, Sterling Sharp, the wide receiver.
Yeah.
He was
I
a
didn't realize it was his
monster.
brother.
Yeah.
He was Jerry Rice basically.
Until
The injury.
he had neck injury, wasn't it? The same thing that took out Michael Irvin, I think.
major injury.
And that was that. He played for the Packers, and he was a monster, really badass.
I wish there was a way we could rank these teams.
there's
That's what I
some-
was gonna say.
Like if there was
What-
like a computer program, put it in, it's like
like one of those simulators.
spits out
that
like
play
a
each
wind
other.
share or something. Yeah.
Somebody really good at 2K needs to make these teams and make them auto play each other.
I don't know.
Don't tempt me
Who all
out,
did
I
you end
will.
up drafting? What was your team?
All right, so
Positions.
Yeah,
is
let's
like starting
make a
lineup.
case for your
Yeah.
for your
well,
squad.
I mean, I have the greatest player of all time in Michael Jordan. What I mean, we're done. What else you need? Out, a winner right here. All right, cut.
Yeah, because Mike never lost.
That's right, he didn't.
He didn't get swept a couple times in the first round, and
Oh, so that does.
But
remind
only
me.
when he made it to the finals. They 6-0 in the finals.
So,
Yeah.
so
So
the
we're
last.
talking about when he got bounced in the first round.
No. So So let's talk about that, because the last time you were on here, you brought up that point and about how why we don't hold Jordan losing in the first round like we do LeBron losing in the finals.
Correct.
So here's the point I'd make on that. So LeBron's major nemesis in the finals is probably the Spurs, right? Would you say? I mean, he's lost to the Spurs twice and the Mavs once.
Lost to Golden State.
And Golden State. So all the teams that
Wait, he loses to Golden State twice, right?
Yeah.
you lose them twice. He's got 5 losses in the finals.
No.
No, he's got 6. He's 4-6, right?
4 and 6.
He's 4-6.
Because he's been there 10 or 11 years in
So
a
he
row.
got Spurs in 07.
Yeah.
Way back when. Don't even count that one. That team shouldn't have made it to the finals.
So
I don't know how they did with Zdran
So
Zilgauskas.
Spurs,
player.
Spurs, and then Mavs, and Spurs again, and
He
then
was the Spurs twice, didn't he?
yeah, he lost
Yeah.
the last Miami team lost to the Spurs.
Yeah, the most beautiful basketball.
Okay, I thought you
ever.
went twice in Miami to the Spurs.
No, just
That's-
once.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
once in Cleveland, once in the Spurs, or once in Miami.
They lost to Golden State twice.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Who's the one we
Should have
missed?
lost to Dallas twice.
Who was the other loss? Was it Golden State 3 times, maybe?
They played 5.
Yeah.
Warriors played 5 in a row.
I think it was 3
Lost.
times, and then because he won 1.
It had to have been a third loss at Golden State. Because he's 4-6, I'm pretty sure.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
it had to
Anyways,
be, yeah.
my point is that Jordan's nemesis was in the same conference as him,
Exactly.
and so he just had to play before he got to the finals.
So he lost to his nemesis first.
Yeah, like LeBron lost to the Spurs twice in the
Well,
finals.
but
it took him a
Or
while
the
to get over the
Warriors.
Celtics too. The Celtics were with KG, Ray Allen,
But that's-
and Paul Pierce.
Yeah, in the,
That was his hump for a
Yeah.
while. That was the reason he left
Getting to the
Cleveland.
finals.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of my point. Is like back then the East was where all the dominant teams were
Yeah,
at, and the
and
West
then
wasn't that great.
You just
And then
had
when
one
LeBron
team.
played, he was in the East when the West had all the dominant teams, and so he was getting through the West or getting through the East real easy, and then playing the good teams in the West and getting beat. Whereas Jordan, all the good teams were in his conference.
But
So
he just won a
was in
championship
40
in the.
finals.
LeBron just won a championship in the West with the
Oh,
stacked
but it was the
West.
bubble, so it doesn't count, right?
I think it would count
No,
more.
everybody
No,
played.
I'm
Everybody
playing
played even.
double up here.
Yeah.
It should
I mean,
count
everybody
more,
had the
in
same
my
rules, so
opinion.
I count a bubble
Yeah.
Lost 3 times to the Warriors.
3 times the worst.
Yeah, not doubting Jordan or downing Jordan or anything, but I hate how everyone acts like he never lost a game. You know, he never lost in the playoffs. Got 6-0 in the finals. It's like, yeah, he got swept a couple times. You know, like he lost in the first round
Well,
a
yeah,
couple
but
times. Like,
LeBron's never
like,
been swept.
That was also
But-
pre
But like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking,
Has
yeah.
he?
he got swept by the Spurs his
So
first
you're
time.
talking about
Oh, okay.
you're talking about how the LeBron team in 07 shouldn't even count. Like the first 3 Jordan teams were Jordan and some dudes.
Yeah.
Jordan and the
Like,
Jordan
I might
era.
have been on
Yeah,
the team.
true. Yeah,
Like
Yeah, and I don't
so,
argue against that.
yeah.
but yeah. Anyways, that was my point. Was that Jordan's nemesis or his hard teams were all just in his conference. So
Just give it
that's gotta take.
Give it 15, 20 more years when LeBron comes up with his self-made documentary, and then like Jordan did, and we'll all be like, oh man, LeBron was the greatest player of all time. He never lost.
Yeah.
Went to the finals every year.
I don't know, man. I've said Jordan was the greatest
Yeah.
player since I quit watching basketball in 1998. If you look at mine, my most recent player is Jason Kidd, and that's just because I like watching him play with
Yeah.
Grant Hill.
I was really struggling
I
with
have
some
not
recency
watched
bias.
an NBA game
Really?
It's
from
hard not
toe to
to.
toe since 1998.
Wow.
The day he walked off the floor, I was done.
Mm.
I seen all I needed to see. What else is there? I saw it. Done.
For the better person.
Now I watch college basketball. Don't get me wrong.
You
I
still watch that a
love,
lot, don't you?
I love college basketball.
Oh, I saw a name earlier that reminded me.
But as far as NBA game go, I haven't watched one toe to toe since
I
1998.
love it.
who's your boy, the Alaskan assassin? Saw that name
Trajan
earlier.
Langdon.
Yeah, I saw that name
He's a
earlier.
GM.
Trey John Langdon. I know that name.
He's a GM for
Houston.
Houston. He played at Duke.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was from Alaska. He's the only Eskimo. I mean, he's a real deal Eskimo. I'm pretty sure he lived in an igloo.
Anyway, sorry, finish out your team.
Okay.
One guy in and started.
Yeah, yeah.
One guy's all
Well, because he threw his paper on the table, like, oh, I need Jordan.
All right, so I got at point guard starting. I got John Stockton, shooting guard.
Like,
for-
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but are we gonna do this like you're gonna go down your team and then
Yeah,
the other
well,
3 guys are
yeah,
gonna critique
yeah,
it? Okay.
All right, so got Stockton, Jordan, Karl Malone. I got Kareem and Larry Bird starting. And then on the bench, I got Reggie Miller, of course, David Robinson, Logo, and Jason Kidd.
Okay, hit me with your starting lineup one more time. Mike,
Stockton,
Stockton.
Jordan, Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Joe Bird.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of those guys hate each other. Like if I'm criticizing, if the whole point is here to
Against
criticize,
each
like,
other, probably, but you
Yeah.
put them on the same team.
I don't know how it
Every
works.
one of those
That's
dudes
fine.
have the competitive will to just cut throats.
yeah, it's just like
Every
my question
one
was like,
of
how does
And nobody
Karl
hates
Malone,
losing worse
Michael-
than those
Yeah.
dudes.
Michael Jordan and
They will will a team to win.
Bird?
You saw
Reggie.
last portion of Larry Bird's career, his back was so fucked up he had to lay down during games. Like he would lay down on
You had to
the
go
floor.
sideline.
So the only weak spot they're none of a weak spot, but if we're talking all-time great team,
Sure.
and we're supposed to critique each other's team, I'm gonna say John Stockton's gonna have a hard time guarding
Steph Curry.
the other guys, the
sure.
Bronze, and whoever's playing point guard for the other teams. He's
Magic.
I knew that was going to be my weakest link, but
Well, he probably just shift Jordan to.
Well,
Guard.
he's gonna have to guard somebody. Like when you're starting five, who's John Stockton gonna have to guard?
Probably Ray Allen on mine.
Okay.
That's who I'd match
That's
him
Okay,
up.
fair.
yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah,
fair.
you can do that.
If I was coaching his team, I'd match him up with Ray Allen.
You can
Because
Like,
I
he's got to
vote-
guard
I-
AR or Kobe on my team.
Yeah.
Those
and
guys
that's
busting his balls
not
all
good
night.
for him.
Yeah.
Neither one of those guys would be good for him. But I mean, Ray Allen, he can chase him around.
Yeah.
Sure. I think he'd have a hard time guarding Steph
He would.
personally, but
I'm not looking for him for defense either, though. I mean,
yeah, you just
No,
want
you're
somebody that's
I want
gonna-
somebody to get the
Yeah.
ball to these other dudes, and then
In the
they'll
right
take care of
spot,
it.
Yeah, you do have a guy that you don't have five guys that are trying to score.
No.
You got
Yeah.
four guys trying to score, and one guy's gonna
One
feed
guy,
the ball.
one guy is the distributor.
Yeah.
And you average 35 assists on that team.
Exactly, and he's got more assists than anybody right now.
He's
so.
gonna hear Jordan in his ear all game, and Larry Legend. If you're talking prime Larry Legend, he would walk into the building and say, "Hey, what's the house score?"
Yeah.
and then beat it by 1 point just to be a dick.
Yep.
You know, like
That's right.
those are two big time egos.
You got Reggie Miller coming off the bench.
yeah.
Yeah, but think about that though. I mean, they're trying to one up each other
Yeah.
the whole game.
I think
Yeah.
I want to see your
The
team play
whole
together
game.
more than any of these other ones, just because I would like to see all
Me
these
too.
guys
Why do you
play,
think I
like,
put them together? the way I
different
did?
personalities.
Why do you think
Why-
I drafted him?
My locker room. Will
Only
be
if Spike
fun as
Lee's on
shit.
the
Can you
sidelines.
imagine the card games that are going to go on in here?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
she done head coach. That would have been kind of cool.
You want to pick a coach?
So-
Spike
coach.
Lee's your head coach. You gotta be.
Well, you guys know I'm gonna say Pop. Like I
Yeah,
gotta
I
go
feel like
Pop.
this should go in reverse order.
Yeah, we'll go reverse order.
Okay,
Let's go
well,
Pop.
first I'm taking Pop. I'm taking who I think is the greatest coach of all time. I think he did the most with the least. If you're talking of the greatest coaches ever, I think he did the most with the least.
I'm gonna cuck you here and go Phil Jackson.
I knew Phil Jackson would be gone before he got to me.
I'm gonna go Rick Carlisle.
I think Rick Carlisle's one of the best
Oh,
coaches
man.
ever.
Yeah,
I do. I
think-
would have
I think
taken
he's
him
top
if Phil
four.
Jackson wasn't here.
I think he's top four.
I think Phil Jackson turned Kobe and Mike into what they were. I'm not saying they weren't going to be great, but I think he added a little
I think
extra.
he definitely helped Kobe.
I think he added a little extra spice to him. Had a little something.
I think
to do with
Jordan's a top 10 player, no matter who the coach is. I do think he probably put him.
Top 3 player, no matter who the coach.
it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think he put him number one. Helped him there, but I think Kobe may not be a top 50 player.
I think there's something with Phil Jackson pushing him over the edge a little bit.
I agree.
What's the guy in Miami? He's a
Bolster.
president now. No, he's the
Pat Riley?
Pat Riley. Or you never said who your coach was.
Or him.
No,
Oh,
I
you
I
did. You
I
were
got Carlisle.
Yeah, he went Carlisle.
Chuck Daly.
Chuck Daly. That's a good one.
Nobody could manage an ego better than Chuck Daly. He had Isaiah Thomas,
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman, and Joe Dumars on the same team.
So
Fair
Daly,
point.
It's not Phil though. He had Pip, Rodman, and Jordan.
and Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not saying he wasn't available to me. I would
Oh,
have
okay,
taken
yeah,
Phil Jackson.
gotcha.
I took the second best option,
Gotcha.
Chuck Daly. Chuck Daly also coached the '92 Olympic team. Think about that.
Yeah. Okay. I
The
got you.
dude can manage.
Yeah.
Dude can
Yeah.
play a room.
You got one of the two guys that
Yeah.
can probably manage that team.
No
so.
Krzyzewski.
Yeah.
No Krzyzewski.
Well,
Well, he's not a
Krzyzewski
pro.
would be really high on my list. I mean,
because he didn't
super-
have it really.
But
I always hesitate to take a college coach for a pro team.
exactly.
Like, there's a
done
lot
it
of
in the
difference between
If there's anybody though, he's the guy that could
19-year-olds.
do it.
Well, yeah. If there's anybody, he's
Yeah,
the
no,
guy. Because
yeah.
you've seen LeBron and them talk about it. Like
Yeah.
I would have played for.
Kobe
that guy.
wanted him to come and coach the Lakers.
Yeah.
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 There's
You'd be
there's
crazy
a lot
not
of
to.
difference between coaching an 18, 19-year-old kid
But
and a 29.
as far as the pantheon of all-time great,
Yeah.
NBA coaches, for me, there's three, and only two of them got named here, and that's Phil Jackson and Chuck Daly. Third's Red Auerbach.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Pop's the best coach ever,
Well,
in my opinion.
Me too.
He's done the most.
I
with the
mean,
least.
yeah, but I mean, think about as far as winning and then egos and coach and stuff like that. Pop
he didn't
was,
allow any egos.
Well,
Pop
yeah.
was the ego.
Yeah, Steven Jackson, you want to get your ass out of here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the problem, though.
His biggest ego to manage was Tony Parker.
Greg Popovich would run half my team off.
yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be the only person to cut Michael
He would-
Jordan.
yeah.
Like-
Exactly. He would like Jordan and Reggie Miller are gone.
Yeah, he would have traded him real quick.
Was Pop the coach of the Spurs when he ran Rodman off?
No, his
No.
first year was, I think,
Was that
Duncan's first year.
Okay.
Or no, he came the
No.
year before Duncan, I think.
Did he? Okay.
So like maybe
David
97
Robinson
or
was the
something.
coach that ran.
David Robinson.
Yeah, he was.
that ran
Rodman off.
Dennis Rodman off.
Yeah. So
That's
So
how
who's,
it
who's your bench?
My bench.
Yeah,
Reggie Miller, David Robinson, Jerry West, and Jason Kidd.
That's a great bench.
it's a really good bench.
I feel like the bench would mesh. I feel like your bench
I know.
may beat your starters.
Well, they plug and play though. That's the beauty
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I almost feel like I'd switch some of your starters out of your bench.
Well, and just drafting a
Right.
team too, though. I mean, because your bench
Yeah.
is also
We
interchangeable.
have tryouts here.
That's
MJ
why-
might get
yeah.
bumped.
That's why you
I need
have
one of my one of my guys that I drafted higher. is
'Cause
sitting
I
on the
could
bench
take- I
over
could-
a guy I drafted on the bench just to make the team work.
I could interchange Kidd and Stockton
Yeah,
and be just fine.
yeah.
I
You
think
know.
I'm gonna switch my starters up too. So.
But I switched one of them out just because I have to guard somebody on another team. So mine are I got LeBron at the point, Ray Allen, I'm going to Rodman at the small forward because I got to have somebody that can guard Jordan or at least try. Wilt at the center and then Kevin Durant at power forward.
Same the thing here.
Where's your bench?
I got Dr. J, the Greek Freak, Kevin Garnett, and Moses Malone.
There are a
That's
few
nice.
guys in NBA history that just make teams better. MJ probably is here, but LeBron can guard anybody. Is what helps your team so much in that situation.
Prime LeBron, yeah.
Yeah, he can play. He
Yeah.
can play all five, and he can guard all five. So like, you can build your team around that. And it doesn't matter who you have.
To me, the hidden jewel in your team is Moses Malone.
Yeah. So yeah,
There's
because
no question.
for me, I can basically swap four at a time and bring Dr. J, the Greek Freak, Garnett, and Moses Malone, and sit Ray Allen, Rodman, Wilt, and Durant.
Yeah, I feel like
Leave
Ray Allen
LeBron
be
out.
sitting a whole lot.
Ray Allen is the weak link there.
Yeah.
If you look at that roster.
He's my shooter to keep the floor spread. Like I had that. He's basically just my spot up guy.
You said your center was Wilt.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was available at the time, but if Steph would have been available there, like
Steph
I
was
think we'd have all said that team's better if you had Steph
Yeah.
instead of Ray Allen. Like I think that's probably the best team.
Steph was one, Ray Allen was two for me as far as that position goes.
Gotcha. Like I said, he
So
made
you
it
got
clear.
Wilt who's going to be the best or push at any center position against anybody else that anybody has, basically.
I feel like Shaq's the only.
Shaq would be a mean matchup.
Shaq and Wilt. are the-
Prime, yeah, that would be.
But also, I
Dream
mean,
team.
you got to remember too.
I'd say Bill Russell against those guys too.
No,
Well, yeah,
that
because
prime
Bill Russell was whooping his ass.
and Wilt were
He
up
was-
each other's ass
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And then you throw in prime Kareem too.
True, yeah.
They were up each other's ass as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel
I think
like-
But
he's
you know, the
as-
thing is, the uniqueness of that though is those were the only guys like that at the time.
Yeah.
You know, so they were always butting heads.
I just think so. Like at the center position, no one is going to be able to say, "Hey, my center is better than your center."
No,
Like,
no.
there's going to be either equal or push.
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to have somebody. Oh, that guy's going to be better than Ray Allen. Like, or I think that's. But you can't do that with center. You can't do that with LeBron either.
No.
Mhm.
I feel like centers for all four of us. Like even if you go to your
Wash.
bench center,
Even our bench
Yeah.
are
centers
basically
are solid.
You know, you're just kind of picking issues to find
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you were.
I mean,
They're
like,
playing
I-
Hakeem at
I
the
have-
forward. Like,
I have Moses.
Yeah.
I have Moses Malone on my bench.
Yeah.
Like you're doing all right if that's your backup center.
Yeah.
So
CC, if you can go and go.
Oh, we got it.
No, it's not
All
right
right.
order necessarily.
So I'm gonna go Shaq at the center. I'm gonna put Duncan at the 4 because he was a power forward. Or I mean, he played center too. I'm gonna put Steph at the point, and then I'm gonna keep Oscar Robertson on the wing, and then I'm gonna take Scotty out, and I'm gonna put in. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to start Barkley or D Wade, because Prime Barkley could run the floor, could play on the wing.
I feel like Barkley's like your best choice for your backup,
But if I'm gonna get
your power forward.
If I'm playing against other all-time greats, I'll probably have to keep Pippen in there just because he can guard anybody on the wing as good as it's gonna get
Yeah.
for the most part. And then on the bench is gonna be Barkley, D Wade, Dominique, and Manu.
I'm glad you got the Manu pick because I've got my pick like that too.
Yeah.
Like, you could argue my Luka pick's wild right now. I
Yeah.
get that, but
Yeah, it's still early for him, but I
Mhm.
mean, there's potential there. But I
The
think
league's in a great spot with him.
the
And
hidden
Zion.
jewel in
Yeah.
Cece's line is Oscar Robinson. Like, totally underrated as far as it goes in that discussion. And that dude, like, he's right. If he played today, he would be the exact same player. He would eat motherfuckers' lunch.
Yeah.
Because he's built like a brick shit house. I mean, that's just it. The dude was bad.
And the triple double lives today. Like, how many would he have in today's game? It's built for a triple double.
Yeah.
Floor more spread.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what do you got?
I got so at the 1 we go AI, Kobe at the 2, Magic at the 3, Hakeem at 4, and Bill at the 5.
Solid.
Yeah.
Bench is where it gets a little crazy. I got Dirk, Clay, Luka, and Kawhi. So I went a little more recent on the bench. Dirk deserves a spot in the top 20, in my opinion.
Okay.
Clay, I think, is one of the best shooters ever. Kawhi, mainly for defense.
Dirk was who I was going to take instead of Garnett.
Yeah. I think he's the second best power forward of all time.
And then I wouldn't have had to take Ray Allen because I'd had a shooter.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson in that bunch.
Yeah.
You pair Allen Iverson with anybody else because I mean, just look at the teams he had. He
Prime
didn't
AI
have no
was
help.
stupid.
Matt Geiger.
I mean,
Eric Snow was
yeah.
probably his best. Or
He
no.
had Iguodala for a couple years. At the
Oh
end.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, yeah,
That
dude,
Iggy was good.
Towards the end.
Towards
Yeah,
the
towards the
end.
end of his career, but in his prime,
He
the
was
best
it.
guy he had on his team was maybe Eric Snow.
It was Eric Snow,
I
yeah.
think
That's how
that's-
bad they were.
Yeah.
And
And
they-
Eric Snow, could he start for a team today? Like, could he start for Sacramento? Like, who knows?
No.
Like,
Probably
He
not.
would be a D-League player.
yeah.
I think he would be a D-League player.
They Drew Gooden back then.
No.
Young Drew Gooden. They didn't.
No.
I don't know. I think
I thought
Theo
he had-
Ratliff was their starting for.
Yeah.
He had somebody. He had a center.
Matt Geiger.
Oh,
Oh wait,
he
he
made
got
Mutombo for a bit.
Mutombo in the
Yeah.
very end.
That's who he
No
went
one
to the
even
finals with.
mentioned Mutombo. We were talking defense
Again, dude,
Yeah.
center is so
Forgot
deep
about
that
Mutombo.
you
Well,
forget.
the center position though. I
and
mean,
rebounder. Go out and get you 20 and 6.
yeah, but you wouldn't throw anybody we picked out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't. You're like nobody.
I mean, hell, we didn't
nobody has
draft-
a bed.
Like, of like great centers, we left Elvin Hayes, Patrick Ewing,
I've
George
named
Mikan.
5 or 6 more before. Ewing is the thing.
Yeah, George Mikan's my guy that makes everybody's list.
But I think we would
And,
took
like, I
7 or
can't
8 more
understand
before
why.
Mutombo. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
I
He
probably
was-
went Yao Mingo.
But
for
he's
Mutombo.
one of the guys that's
Yeah.
not the prolific scorer.
But if you're talking, if you're gonna put Rodman as one of those greats, then why not Mutombo?
Well,
You're
because
talking
he just gets
defense,
forgotten for
rim
me.
protector
Yeah.
as a big man. Like, who's a better rim protector? Maybe Olajuwon, maybe. But besides
Olajuwon
that-
is the only guy that I would even put
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem with him though is that's all you're getting. You get rebounds and blocks, and that's
Yeah,
it.
but you're
At
getting
least with some-
major rebounds.
So here's
Yeah,
the
but with some
01
other
finals.
defensive players, you're getting like assists and steals.
Yeah.
And other, you get a couple other stat categories.
That 01 finals when the 76ers made against the Lakers. AI averaged 36, Mutombo averaged 17, and Eric Snow averaged 13. Dropped
So
down to 8
Mutombo was
So
on the
Mutombo-
finals
yeah,
team.
Mutombo
I was
was
thinking it
on
was
the
Matt
finals.
Geiger. My bad.
See, I thought
He was on
Mutombo
that
was
team
in
too,
Atlanta
but didn't
by
play
then.
as much.
I know. I remember he got traded during the All-Star break. Like during the All-Star break. I thought it was the next year though. I didn't know he was on that team.
Put up 36 against Kobe. Not bad.
I would put up 36 against anybody.
Duke score.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a guy like that in today's game.
And you know another
He's
point
my
guard
third
that
favorite
got
player of
left
all
off too. And
Loved watching
he's
that
not
guy.
he's not an all-time great.
Had
but,
about
I mean,
5
the dude
AI
was
jerseys.
badass. Tim Hardaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That crossover dribble that he would break anybody's ankles.
Yeah. I love that Miami team. Tim Hardaway, Alonzo Mourning's my second favorite.
See,
player
it's
of all
another one I
time.
got left out.
Forgot
Damn
about
it.
him. Yeah, he's one of my favorite players of all time.
And if his kidneys would have held up,
Mm.
that dude would have been in the argument for
Oh,
like way up there.
Yeah.
But he had, was he diabetic?
I can't remember.
There was something
He got a
with his-
ring with Miami. He was on that team with Shaq and D Wade.
See, back in the day, it was the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh yeah, with Grandmama.
Yeah,
Larry Johnson.
that was the second coming right there. Because that UNLV team was badass. It was him, Stacey Augmon, and Greg Anthony was the point guard. And like that, they were beating people like 140 to 4.
Yeah,
Like,
you know
those
the
are
game's
badass.
nuts.
And then Larry Johnson. See, back in the, do you remember? Were you here when the Charlotte Hornet craze hit? Everybody had a fucking
Everybody had
Charlotte.
one of the jackets.
Everybody had those jackets.
The
Yeah.
starter
I was a
jacket.
I was a kid and I have my brother had one of those
The
jackets.
half zip,
Yeah.
half zip.
Yeah, those
Starter.
were-
All right.
I remember.
Dudes at school had Larry Johnson jersey, shorts, and the half zip parka thing.
Yeah. Grandmama was the man.
And then they turn around and got Alonzo Mourning in the next draft. Because they sucked it up with Larry Johnson because Alonzo Mourning was the number 2 pick in that Shaq draft. He was number 2 coming out of Georgetown. So they had to suck it up to get that high in the lottery, you would think. But people were fucking rabid for it.
Yeah.
Cool logo.
You know what I just thought about? We were talking about Zion earlier. I think a close comparison might be Larry Johnson. I mean, Larry Johnson was more
Yeah, that's
chiseled.
one of the few comps I've seen.
More chiseled and maybe not quite as athletic as Zion.
But he
And-
broke down.
Yeah.
You know, by the time he made it to the Knicks, he
There's
was,
sad it's not gonna happen with Zion.
he
though.
was
Yeah.
broken.
For somebody that Zion likes to jump as much as he does, and all that.
But
weight,
also,
like those ankles, and
Zion
feet are
also
big.
has the advantage of more modern medicine.
Yeah.
You think Larry Johnson was, what, 25 years ago?
Yeah,
30?
he's not getting in the hyperbaric chamber.
No.
You
But
know.
the thing is, same
The
thing with
diet.
that. Like everybody used to freak out about an Achilles, and it's just 13, 14 months he'll be back. Like
An Achilles
used
sucks.
to
Yeah,
Well-
but it's still you got to be like
yeah, but I'm saying
like
modern medicine's helped
Durant
that so
or
much.
Achilles. You're like, okay,
But that's the thing about guys that size, though. It's always the lower half. Like, I'm not even talking knees. I'm talking feet.
Yeah, I'm worried about Zion's
That's
feet.
that's
either.
the reason
Those dudes'
Shaq
feet are gonna
finally
break
retired
down.
because of a toe injury.
Well, the
So
foot
take
is
him
what's going to get Kevin Garnett. You know, not Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
Because he's been foot prone his entire
Yeah,
fucking
but
career.
He's 100.
That's
He's
what Yao Ming
95
killed Yao
pounds.
Ming, dude.
Well, that's exactly what killed Yao Ming. His feet
Yeah.
broke down.
You
on
can't weigh 300 pounds and jump on them all
and
day
run
long.
on them. You know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you forget about those teams and those guys. But Larry Johnson is a fair comparison to Zion. He's the
Yeah.
closest thing.
I
And
just
he
thinking
was just a
about that.
flash in the pan.
Yeah.
He was just badass, and then it was over. You know, at least Lonzo Mourning hung around a little while.
Yeah. Got that ring. I was happy for him.
But you forget him and Shaq went 1 and 2.
Gary Payton was on that team too.
Yes, he was.
There's always like, hey, D-Wade, get us a ring. Just
Yeah.
Oh, that was back.
get us a
when
ring,
the
bro.
road tracing kind of started.
Well,
Still
Shaq was on
live
that
up
team
to-
too,
Oh,
though.
Karl Malone
Yeah.
and
I mean, they
the
were.
Lakers.
Yeah, Karl Malone and Gary Payton went to L.A.
Another guy we kind of forgot about, Steve Nash. I haven't even heard the
Yeah.
name tonight.
I just don't think he's one. Like, I think Steve Nash was great, but I think he was more of a. I feel like it was a system.
Really good.
I feel like
Yeah.
I
you
go
give
back to
D'Antoni
50,
a
40,
good scoring, passing point guard. I mean, give him James Harden, give him Steve Nash. They're gonna put up great numbers, but are they gonna
Yeah.
win a title? I don't know.
Won a lot of games though.
Yeah,
Well,
but I
won
would
two
I would
MVPs.
I would
Look at
say
50,
Chris
40,
Paul
90
before I
is
said
hard to-
Steve Nash.
Well, he also won 2 MVPs. You keep that in mind. That dude was the best player.
Yeah, he
in
shouldn't have
the
won
league.
But-
one of them.
So he wasn't the best player in the world when he won those MVPs.
No, he was
Because
the best player in the league, not in the world.
I'm sorry, which the NBA
Yeah,
still.
sure.
But he was not better than Shaq those years.
No.
He won. He wasn't better than Kobe those years.
No.
He wasn't better than Duncan those years. He
No.
won.
What better than Dirk the years he won?
Yes, those MVP trophies are almost like the best player on the best team.
Best story.
Yeah,
It is.
Who's when D Rose won those MVPs, was he better than LeBron? I don't think so.
The thing
No.
is, MJ should have probably won an MVP.
Damn near every
80%
year.
of the year.
Same with
Time
Kobe.
was great.
Same with Kobe.
LeBron
Same
should
with
have
Shaq.
damn near 10. But it's just they're not going to.
You
do
kind
that.
of
It's
get
not good for the
fatigued.
league.
Like after 5, you're like, LeBron doesn't need any more of those.
I would
you know,
bet
like-
Yeah.
any sum of money. I still think Luka wins this next year. That Giannis will not win a third MVP. They don't want that narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of boring. It's boring now. Okay,
Yeah.
he got a couple.
He's
Cool,
got 2
man.
cool. Not many
Yeah.
people have repeated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giannis repeated. Time for the new story. What happens next?
I think the only way Luka wins is if he improves his 3 points and free throws.
Luka wins it. I think if they
I don't
stay
know.
the same, I think he wins it. And now I think they'll get better.
I think if Durant if he comes back
Yeah.
like he is, then he'll get it over Luka just because of the narrative of him, being down and out and coming back.
See, I think that's why Luka wins it. I don't think.
I think too many people hate Durant.
I can't stand him. He's so mentally. I mean, you got a grown, multi-million-dollar man arguing with people on
Burner accounts.
Yeah.
using burner accounts to argue with kids on Twitter.
That is pretty chicken.
They're talking about the narrative. I think that is the narrative that. I think that's why Luka wins it this year. is
Or
that
even
he plays
if
their story.
LeBron has the same year he had this year, they're gonna be like, oh, he's damn near 40. Like LeBron deserves another one.
He does.
Or there's
Well, it's also they're looking for the next new thing.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That
And that's why I
next
think the
name
Luka
that they
thing
can
is
sell.
plays into it
Yeah.
a little more.
That new name. That new name.
I think Luka could. Luka's amazing, man. Like I hate the
29-99.
When I talk about the teams that I hate more than any other team, all across pro sports, Mavs are top 2.
Why?
I
He's
just
a
hate
Spurs
them.
Spurs fan.
I just hate them.
Spurs fan.
I
I
just
don't hate
hate
the
Spurs
Spurs.
are number 2 on my list as far as NBA teams.
I root for the Spurs every game.
Like,
They're not playing.
I like almost every player
But
that's
I-
played for the Spurs other than Ginobili and Parker, and the Spurs are my second like most hated team.
That's weird.
Yeah, I hate
I
the
like their
Mavs,
coach.
but I love Luka. I cannot watch them and not love Luka. Even though I hate them, I hate watching them play.
He's hard not to like.
He's hard. Only Mavs I've ever liked was when Corey Brewer played there for a little bit because I'm a huge, I'm a Gator fan across all sports, so I rooted for him. And
You can't tell me you hated Dirk.
I hated Dirk.
What?
He's a dumb.
Oh my God!
I don't
I hate
care.
Dirk. He's
Dirk
a
and
7
Duncan are
foot
two of the
two,
most likable
7
people ever.
foot 2 guard. He can't. He didn't rebound or play defense.
He averaged like 10 a game.
I don't know about it. Somebody show me that stat.
7.5.
I'm
Look
not
it up.
arguing
Never
with
ever.
that.
7.5. Okay, I thought so.
7.5.
I was gonna say he's. I
I
don't
looked up
remember him
the
ever
NFL.
getting big rebounds as a center or power forward,
He's
whatever.
power forward.
But I hated him. I don't know. I hated the Mavs.
He seems like one of the most likable guys in the league. But anyway, that's sorry.
I don't hate him
No,
now,
I
but
get your story.
I hated Kobe while he played during the '90s because they kept the Spurs from winning a couple times or a lot of times. I hated Shaq I hated Shaq most of his career when he was in LA. Hated Dirk. I hated Michael Finley until he came to San Antonio, and then he was one of my favorite
That's
players.
true, Surprised Big
But-
Shot Bob didn't make your list.
I love Robert Ward, but he can't do it. But across all major sports, I think Mavs are probably my most hated team. I mean, you got Mavs, Florida State football, and Patriots football. That's probably those top 3.
Miami Heat and Spurs. My 1 and 2.
And those are my 2 favorite
Fucking hate.
NBA teams.
Of you like the NBA teams you hate?
Yeah, those are my 2 like least favorite teams in the world.
For me,
In
Like
sport.
across sports. Across sports.
For me, man, is
Yankees.
across all sports.
Yeah.
Oh God, Texas Longhorns tops that list.
Texas
baby.
Longhorns college football is they have the worst fans in
Easily
the world.
tops that list. My 3 are Texas Longhorns, New York Yankees, and the Boston Red Sox. Fuck all them.
Wouldn't piss on them if they're on fire.
No.
My 3rd would probably be the Angels.
I don't mind the Angels because they suck all the time. They got the
Yeah.
greatest player in the world and they can't win shit. Like
I
that
don't
dude
like
is
him.
the next Mickey Mantle and they cannot win a fucking game.
Yep.
And I love to see them suffer.
Wow.
But I hate in the Cubs even. I'm not even I don't wear a Cubs hat down here. I'm not even a Cubs because they got so many bandwagon jumper fans. Yankees are the same way. The Yankees get good, get in the playoffs. Every motherfucker you see is a Yankee fanatic. We
Yeah.
got 27 rings. Bitch, you ain't got a ring. Stop. You ain't got shit.
I love the 27 rings. It's like
That's the
they've
only
got,
argument they
what,
got.
2 or 3 since you've been alive?
Well, yeah. I mean, you figure in that one.
Like,
Jeter
I'll see
won-
guys my age like, oh, Yankees 27 rings. You've seen 2, and you
Yeah.
were in diapers.
Yeah.
My brother's a diehard Notre Dame football fan,
Mm.
and he's always like, "Oh, we got all these rings." I was like, "Yeah, but how many in my lifetime? I'm 33. How many have they gotten since then?"
I don't mind the
That's
team.
why I love the
but
OU
Notre
Texas.
Dame fans would probably be my number 4.
Well, see,
I don't mind the team so much.
Notre Dame wasn't shit. Hasn't been shit forever. Like the Tim Brown era is when Notre Dame football was last seen in it. They got
Well,
Manti-Te'o
they've got some good
catfished.
teams since then. They got
They made the national team.
yeah, they've had
Yeah,
some,
and got
some
their
good
asses
teams.
just
Yeah.
Oregon,
handed
yeah.
to them.
Wasn't it?
No,
Was it Mariota?
Alabama.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who did Mariota beat?
Mariota beat
I thought they-
Auburn.
Yeah.
No, Auburn beat Oregon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oregon. I won money in
Mariota
that
didn't
game.
win
Yeah,
one.
He didn't?
I bet on Cam.
Yeah, but that's the thing about those
I wouldn't
bandwagons.
hate
Over
you.
Of course, I hate Texas because I'm a Sooner.
Yeah.
Like you're
That's why
born-
Florida State football's in my top.
Yeah, exactly. I figured you had to be more of a Miami hate.
Okay, so as a Gator fan,
Because they don't really play them a lot.
Yeah, I don't hate Miami as much, being a Florida Gator fan, but in my family, 2 of my brothers are diehard Hurricane fans, so I hear them talk shit constantly, so I don't like
the
that.
thing about Miami too, though, I mean, I guess if you were a Florida State guy, that's where your Miami hatred
Yeah,
would come
I
from.
mean, I don't like Miami, believe me, but I hate the Spurs. I mean, not the Spurs. I'm sorry, I hate the Mavs and Florida State and the Patriots a lot
Well,
more.
being a Florida guy, I get that. I mean, that's
Why
your.
do you hate the
part-
Patriots?
I
Are
mean,
you a Dolphins
that's
fan?
the same bag
The
I'm in.
cheaters.
That's the same bag
I
I'm
didn't
in
know if it
with
was like
Texas.
if you were a Dolphins fan, but you just didn't like
No,
them.
I hate the Patriots. They had the best quarterback, the best coach, and they cheated. All that together combined, I feel
It's not
just-
a winning combination.
I just didn't like it. You got a quarterback who's married to a supermodel who's the best there ever was, with the best coach there ever was, with the
Funny thing
one
is
of the
his
best.
wife is worth more than he is.
Yeah, with one of the best owners there ever was. You know, combined with the fact they like all that together, it just made me not like it.
See, I
Go
don't
to the
really
massage
have.
parlor in Florida, none of that.
I don't really have an
They
NFL
dropped
team
all those
that I
charges.
hate. I guess if I had to pick one, it would be the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
They're pretty terrible.
I mean, they suck. but I
not the
don't-
Washington football team.
Well, you know, them too, being a Cowboy.
Yeah.
I mean, you those are the teams you've hated, but they've been shitty for so long. I mean, Philadelphia's won a Super Bowl, but when's the last time Washington won one? Like 89-ish.
No.
I think the last time they even played for one was 89-ish.
So here's a weird thing about me. I grew up a diehard Cowboys fan until I moved to Oklahoma, and it's made me like them less. Because
I can see that.
I feel like the Cowboys fans in Oklahoma are the dumbest fans. One of the dumbest fan bases there is. It just makes me not. It made me go from a diehard. I'm talking about diehard Cowboys fan to now I almost don't like them at all. Like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What makes them dumb?
Because we're so. I say we still, but our expectations are so much higher than what we are or what they are. You know, like
It's our year.
yeah, it's always our year.
Well, I mean, it's always but you know, you look at that though.
Do you say that about all of your teams, Jeremy?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm realistic.
Exactly. I think he
but
said
majority of
fans are
Cowboys fans,
unrealistic.
every year is our year. Like
Well,
we should
also-
win every game.
I mean, you're more social. I mean, just you by profession. So you're out. You see more people. You hear more things. And with me, I don't really see it because I work with a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
A diehard because I have to eat shit from that all the time.
And to your point, there are more bandwagon Cowboy fans than any other team
The
in any
Cowboys,
sport.
the Cowboys are basically the Yankees of the NFL.
Yeah.
So that's probably
Just put
adding
it
to
in
that
there.
fire, if
Yeah.
I had to guess.
But here, you know, in Oklahoma, we don't have a pro team.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the Thunder now, but back in the day, I mean,
Yeah.
our pro team was really new. Our pro team was a fucking minor league baseball.
Yeah.
Or the Dallas Mavericks.
You know, and so
Yeah.
you in Oklahoma, you kind of got the luxury of just choosing your pro team because you know you didn't have one.
Yeah.
You know, so you picked and choose. Of course, you know, for me, I'm a homer. I'm like, man, all right. When I started paying attention to sports was the early '90s, '91, '92. Those Cowboy teams were monsters then.
Mhm.
I mean, they beat the hell out of everybody. They should have won 4 Super Bowls in a row. You know, so that's where I fell in love with it. You know, with basketball.
I love them. I love them. Die hard. You know.
You know, and you know how hard it was to be an OU fan in the '90s. Like the Gary Gibbs and the John Blake era. Good God, Nebraska was our team that would come in and whoop our ass. 94, 95, Nebraska Cornhuskers. I'd put them up just about against anybody.
We had this discussion last
That's,
time too.
that's where I get fairly lucky. Is
They would whoop that ass.
my favorite pro teams are a lot like my friends, and they're all like outcasts and underdogs.
Yeah,
and
you're all
rebels.
over the map, aren't
Yeah,
you?
like like the Mavs are perpetually, you know, average-ish to good. You know, the Rangers are always horrible. The Titans are 8-8 every year.
Titans?
Yeah, so when I started watching pro football is when they had Steve McNair and Eddie
Oh,
George.
yeah,
And I was just
yeah.
a big Steve McNair fan.
Yeah.
See, as
So
far
like,
as
Air Force Academy is my favorite college football team. Like, I'm all over the place.
But as far as like pro basketball, I don't really follow much anymore. But you know, I guess I still consider myself a Chicago fan. I don't know. I couldn't name a player on the team right now, so I don't. Cause
Zach LaVine?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't watch it.
Love them.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
Zach LaVine was the dude that sang for Maroon 5. If you want to know the truth, like that's
That's
seriously.
what's his
Adam
name?
Levine.
Adam
Adam
Levine.
Levine.
Okay, see there you
Yeah,
go.
no relation, I don't think.
No,
But you know, so as far as that goes, so I just follow college basketball, which I'm a Duke Blue Devil guy.
Yeah.
Duke is my only
Fell in love
winning
Yeah.
team that I'm a fan of.
with
See, in
and-
college, I'm in Florida across every sport from basketball, football, golf, soccer,
Yeah.
baseball, softball.
And it's not a bad program to fall in love
Yeah.
with. With me, you know, Oklahoma never had a basketball team. You know, we had the
The thing is, we've had two Naismith Player of the Years in the last. What,
Yeah,
6
they're
seasons?
kind of coming along a little
Which is
bit.
kind of crazy
But,
to think how
I
bad.
mean,
no,
Yeah, what,
for me, it was
Bucky
more
Young,
Coach
Trae
K.
Young? Yeah.
I fell in love with Coach K
Yeah.
because you know the dude
Yeah.
is class act, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
Shane Battier.
And then of
That
course
was-
with
that
football,
was what got me
it's,
on Duke.
that's Oklahoma. You know, there's no question. And then NFL is Cowboys. And then with baseball, man, I just love the game of baseball.
Yeah.
You watch the game of baseball more than anybody I know.
I cannot, man.
He takes opening day off.
I take opening day off every day.
Ain't nobody
every year.
take opening day of baseball off.
And I don't go. I've never been to a game opening day.
Really?
I've never been.
So
I
you can
go,
sit
I
home and
come
watch all of
home,
them.
and the first game starts at 11 that morning, which is the East Coast game. The West Coast game starts at 9 o'clock that night. I don't leave my couch just to
Wow.
get up and piss.
Case of beer.
See,
That's
Used to
it.
be.
I feel like baseball is one of those sports you have to play to understand, to love, and I quit and
Well,
couldn't hit the
for
ball
me,
T.
it's all about. I look at the numbers. I'm
Yeah.
a big numbers fan.
Analytics guy.
You know, and the thing about
Moneyball.
Well, the thing about baseball, though, is baseball honors its past better than any sport there is. If you really think about it, it's like the past and the numbers, like a numbers game. Can you tell me how many points?
Steroids.
Well, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you tell me how many points the all-time leading scorer in the NBA had?
I don't know the number. Kareem, 38,000.
All right, how many home runs did?
762.
Yeah, 762. Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
How many hits did Pete Rose have?
4,038 or something.
4,256.
I got you.
You see, those
Yeah.
that's so baseball honors its past a lot more,
Yeah.
and its rich history.
They try not to change the game a whole lot.
Exactly, and the game is played just the way it was. I mean, there's a few variations.
Yeah.
You know, the mound's a little shorter and the
I-
bases are wider.
I have a hard time watching on TV.
Oh,
I'll flip in, watch a couple innings.
oh my
Go flip
God!
something else, flip back
I'll
in.
watch spring training games.
Wow.
I can't do it.
I mean, I will sit down, I study lineups. I'm like, man, this dude here, this dude here. I mean,
I can appreciate how hard it is to hit a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Like I can understand like the athleticism and the hand-eye coordination and the timing, and that it's more of a thinking man's game. But you couldn't pay me a salary to sit down and watch baseball.
oh, to most, it's not exciting at all.
You could pay me a salary.
Dude, literally.
Well,
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess
Like,
you're
to
right.
pretty much do anything.
No, but I
if
mean-
it's the right amount of money.
I know
Everybody's got a
where
price,
I know where
right?
you're going with it. I
Yeah.
mean, it would
But
be a real job. Like,
Yeah.
it
And
would
that's
be-
why the sport's dying. It's just hard for, like you said, if you didn't play the game, it's hard to understand.
No, it's
More so
true.
than probably any other.
But it's
sport.
also it's not as flashy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing. But
And they do a horrible job with the worst of professional sports in marketing their players.
well, yeah. I mean, but
This is like that last podcast, like 2.0.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
It's
it's
all
on.
great points,
Yeah.
too.
yeah, and,
Best player in the world, Mike Trout.
Yeah,
99% of Americans couldn't pick him out of a crowd.
yeah.
No, they couldn't
Yeah,
pick
they
him
do a
out of the
horrible
lineup.
job marketing.
I don't know. I just know he's a short guy, short buck guy. I don't know what he
He's
looks
actually
like.
not. He's like 6'4".
Yeah.
Pretty
Is he
good
really?
player.
He's a
Yeah,
monster.
big guy.
Oh, I thought he was a little guy.
No.
Yeah, and he's built like a brick shit house.
Wow.
That's the thing. Like you just don't know these
I don't.
guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
thought
he could probably walk up those stairs right now and you wouldn't know it.
I always thought he was like in my head I had like a 5'10" badass.
No, not at all.
Yeah, he's a
He is.
monster.
He's actually kind of one of the anomalies there. But
He's one of the chiseled. But you look at guys though that are badasses in that game. It's also a game that you don't have to be big to play. Like you look at Jose Altuve, second baseman for the Astros. He's about this. He's about this big.
Kyler Murray, picture that.
I mean, you can easily
Yeah.
put him in a backpack, no problem.
Yeah, one of my favorite baseball pictures is him standing next to Aaron Judge.
Yeah, Aaron Judge
It's
is
like
like
6'7" or something.
yeah,
Yeah, 6'7"ish.
6'7", 6'8". He
He's
looks
standing-
and he looks like the Andy from fucking Toy Story.
Yeah,
Not
see,
Andy.
see, I know his face just because he's like super tall and it was
And
really
he's a Yankee.
yeah.
Yeah.
He is a
Probably
Yankee.
right, yeah.
Keep that in mind.
But
But Altuve is literally this bobblehead standing next to me.
he comes.
How
Still
many
one
how many
MVP.
teams are there in MLB? Is it like
30.
30?
Mhm.
See, I don't even know how many. I feel like there's 50 teams, like because I don't know baseball. Like there's
No.
And we were talking about this on the last podcast. Is like if you take 3 major sports, we're going to include hockey here a little bit. Somebody that does not understand a sport at all can figure out what's happening in basketball. 2 guys, 2 different teams, 5 guys, try and score on one end, try to stop them from scoring on the other, right? Simple.
Sure.
You don't know what you're doing in baseball. You don't know what they're doing in football. So that's why I think football's not having a hard time, but baseball's having a hard time.
I think
retaining
soccer's
viewers.
going to overtake hockey soon enough.
Well, the popularity of the NFL, though, I mean, right now, it's so hard to
Yeah.
beat that.
Yeah, it is. But I'm saying, like, for a new sports comer, it's hard to learn baseball.
But also,
compared to
I think
basketball.
what also kills baseball, like football, you know who the next big thing's going to be. You know.
Mhm.
You see it coming out of college. You see
Yeah.
it. It's enormous. This dude's right in your face the whole time.
Yeah.
Basketball's the same way.
Yeah.
You get your one and done dudes.
Yeah. Prime time television.
and all that shit. You get dudes come into the MLB, and they don't even make the show for 5 years.
that and
You don't ever see
Yeah.
the greats. They just kind of you got to wait for them. It's like watching a garden. You gotta wait for that shit to
And
start
they don't
growing.
impact the play every game, or impact the game every play.
because the pitcher doesn't pitch every game, right? They pitch
No,
like
they only
Exactly.
every fifth game.
every fifth game.
And they're only pitching half of the time the game is
Yeah,
going on. too.
nowadays, they're only pitching like into the fifth.
Yeah, and
A
then
lot of
of the inning, they're only playing half because the team's hitting the other part.
Yeah.
Same thing, like NFL, the quarterback is
Handles
the
the ball
focus
every
of the game
time.
at least half the game. Basketball, it's the whole game.
Yeah, well, I'll give granted, basketball is more exciting. I mean, but I find the older I get, the slower I like my sports.
I watch a whole lot more golf.
Watch more
now.
golf here.
Oh
lately.
hell no! I'll never go that far. Golf and NASCAR
Tiger
kiss
winning
my
the last-
ass.
Talking about
Masters.
Is NASCAR okay?
So awesome.
Sorry to get off the best of our
No,
topic.
no, go ahead.
But is NASCAR a sport or is it skill? Because I have these conversations with people all the time. Because they're like, okay, what quantifies a sport? Is it athletic ability or is NASCAR a skill?
I think it's a skill.
So for me, it's points. So a sport involves scoring points to determine a winner.
But NASCAR has points in a point system.
Yeah, they have.
Well, they have a
Yeah.
point system to determine like the championship series.
The
But to win a
hardest
race,
point system
A
you'll
single
ever
race
see.
does not
Yeah.
You need a degree in physics
Yes,
to figure that shit
I
out.
consider NASCAR like a competition. It's
So-
just it's a race.
See, my
Do
definition
you think
for
golf
sport
is a
different.
sport or a skill?
I think it's a sport. There's a scoring system for every round.
And you got to be semi-athletic. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to get your ass up and down that green.
Yeah.
The only, I agree. Do you see NASCAR as a skill?
I think it's more of a skill than a
Me
sport.
too, because I can drive.
I
Yeah.
agree with that.
And here's the thing: the only really thing that they do athletically is hold their piss. If you really think about it, that's it.
Well, there's a lot of G's when they turn like being able to withstand G forces
Yeah,
when
I'm
you're around corners and
Still-
stuff
I'm
like that.
sure it's
But is
different.
it,
You gotta be
is it astronaut
ashamed.
as
You don't
athlete?
have to be
Well,
that
no,
much
there's
in
not a
shape.
competition.
Look at
That's
some of these
Yeah,
dudes.
but I'm saying-
But I bet they're super athletic.
They are.
I mean,
That's a
look at
fair
some of these
point.
dudes.
But that's why I consider it a competition.
I
Like,
agree. I
Get
would
Tony.
say competition.
Get
or
Tony
skill.
Stewart to run around the block
Yeah.
in a foot race with somebody, and then but get him to do it with a basketball player. I'll pick one. I don't care. Jeremy Lin at this point. He's outclassed. He's not an athlete.
To me, a sport involves a ball or a puck.
Well, for me, a sport, you're doing it with
It's either competition
your
or skill. after that,
body.
in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I think it involves athletic ability.
NASCAR is like chess. It's a
Yeah.
skill. It's an
Yeah.
ability.
But yeah, I think skill and competition are interchangeable here. Like you're just there's a winner, but you're not scoring points. You're not.
And I see.
Right.
I look at golf as a sport because I mean you're not playing against them. You're
Mhm.
playing against yourself basically.
Yeah.
But you have to have some athletic
Is
ability.
wrestling a sport?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's points.
Actual
Wait,
wrestling, not
yeah,
WWE.
Like
Not pro
Yeah,
wrestling.
no, I'm talking like college.
No.
Have you ever wrestled?
No,
Or-
I
sorry,
know they
wrestled-
whoop
College,
the absolute
those
crap out of
dudes
it.
I
are.
wrestled in high school, and it's the hardest
Yeah.
thing that I've ever had to do physically. You
That's
wouldn't
where my
think.
argument with the ball and
Yeah.
puck kind of falls down.
Well, the thing, yeah, that's
That's
you
what I'm
lose
saying.
it.
I think
You
in
lose it
sports,
in wrestling.
there's a
You
point
lose
system.
it in boxing, and you lose it in mixed martial
Swimming.
arts.
Man, like I have a hard time
Swimming's
if I think
competition.
about it. Like, is it a sport or is it
I think
competition?
anything for time
It's
is
not a
competition.
team.
You're
You know?
competing against the time.
Well,
You're also
wrestling-
competing against other people,
Yeah.
though, in
Yes.
swimming.
Huh? Yeah, but
College
there's no
wrestling
points.
is a team
Like
sport.
you're competing like to swim the fastest.
You have to earn points,
scoring
and then
points.
the team like that's in college.
To me, it's
So
not
track,
competition.
though.
To me,
Track's
that's better than
is
like
that
academic.
sport or a skill? I think track's a
competition.
sport.
Well, what I'm saying though, but there is
I'd
a
say
lot
it's
of
a sport.
athletic ability
Oh.
there.
You're competing.
Tons, but I, like that's where I think I draw the
Against
line on
somebody else.
sport versus competition. I just don't know.
Well, for me, wrestling is the ultimate sport because I mean you're putting yourself against someone in physical
One-on-one.
combat.
Yeah.
What the hell is happening? Oh, somebody touching the mic.
Like boxing or MMA. I'd say all that's a sport. But
But what differs that from NASCAR?
There's points.
It's still a competition. It's a point
NASCAR,
system.
you could conceivably sit there and drink beer all day.
I think you have to be an athlete to be called this for what you do to be a sport. I think any one of us with enough practice and coaching and tutelage could get into NASCAR.
Money.
And money.
I think there's a better chance that you could go box somebody than drive a NASCAR well enough to win.
Shit, no. Have you ever fought a boxer?
Whoa, like
You ever-
a real boxer?
I
Well,
consider,
I've got
I consider myself fairly
Yeah.
combative, and I won't get in a ring
Yeah.
with a pro boxer.
Not a
'cause
real
I'll get
one.
fucking
Yeah.
crushed.
I sparred around with a former Golden Glove one time,
Yeah.
and he.
There's a
it's a
technical
different.
skill there
It's
that's
a
just.
different.
Getting hit by a trained
All I'm saying
fighter
is, I
is
think
a
if you could bend
whole
2
other
years of the proper training, nutrition, everything, you've got a better chance than I think if you gave Jeremy 2 years of NASCAR experience to go
No,
win a
I
race.
disagree.
think if you gave me in prime, like 20-year-old me,
Sure.
if you gave me 2 years of just boxing training to be a pro boxer, I think I'd climb into the ring with Mike Tyson and get my ass beat.
Well, I'm not saying
Well,
you're
don't say
fighting
Mike Tyson because that's everybody.
And I think that he would. I think he could go out and be competitive against top level NASCAR guys with the same amount of training. Like a better chance of that than
Yeah,
a better
because
You
chance
be the
of top
fastest
level.
car with the best pit
Yeah,
crew and
exactly.
the best technology.
And you hone your skill, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
dragging
Yeah.
those curves and shit.
Yeah.
I'm not taking away from what NASCAR guys do.
Yeah, I'm sure
just
it's
saying,
hard.
like, I think you
We
have
can't
better
do any
chance-
of it, so it's fair game to
I think
say.
I think it's a better chance of being competitive in NASCAR than it is competitive in boxing.
Okay, look. You want to talk about boxing? You look at Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, who's a top. Conor McGregor's a top world class athlete, or was at the time. Not in. It was a different sport, which was boxing, and he looked like a little
thought
kid.
McGregor
But I'm
actually
not saying
fought
you're
fairly
fighting
well
a
in
Floyd
that fight.
Mayweather.
Like
You're
I mean-
using an extreme example. I'm
Okay,
talking
okay,
straight
true.
middle of the road
True.
boxer.
Okay,
Like,
very
you
true.
take the best, arguably the best ever.
That's
So
you're
okay,
true, that's right.
I'll give you a good one. So the recent one with the Tyson card that they just had, Jake Paul and Nate Robinson.
Yeah.
Right. Nate Robinson's a former basketball player. He trained for about 8 months.
And a former football player.
Was he a football player?
Yeah, he was a badass in college.
Okay. So
Multi-sport
So
athlete.
multi-sport athlete. He spends about 8 months training for a single fight. Jake Paul's been boxing for about 2 years, and he wrestled in college, and he beat the shit out of Nate
Big
Robinson.
size
Knocked him the fuck
difference.
out.
Yeah, but this Jake Paul dude's about to get his money
So
when he goes against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, he's going against Mayweather now.
I thought it was McGregor. Wasn't
No.
it?
no, it's Mayweather.
That's Mayweather.
Mayweather.
If they would have had this in 2020, I would say he had a chance.
I'm just saying,
anything can happen this year.
You got a YouTube star that spent 2 years boxing
Yeah.
and did some
That's
wrestling
proving
in
my
college,
point.
and then against a former basketball player who doesn't have.
Yeah,
even
but that's a
that-
setup for money. That dude didn't. He's
the
not
point is
doing
that
it at
Nate
a
Robinson
pro
spent 8
level.
months training as a multi-sport athlete and got throttled by a YouTube star that spent 2 years doing it with a little bit of combative.
Yeah, you-
Stepping
he
into a
is-
ring with somebody with combative,
But
combative experience is vastly
What I'm saying though,
I just think either I'm overestimating Ben here, or I feel like there's in my head a better chance of Ben with the right technique and
No.
everything 2
I-
years in.
I boxed when I was at the Air Force Academy. You got to take boxing or wrestling, and I chose boxing. I should have took wrestling, but I took boxing, and I would spar with like the senior and junior heavyweight guys, and I was basically just a fucking moving punching bag. Like it was just trying
You're
not to
training
die.
for them basically.
Yeah. I was just trying not to die, and every once in a while hit the
see
back.
that's the thing too though. I mean, go put Jake Paul against a dude his weight class. I don't
Just
know
put
who
him
that would
against
be.
a Golden Glove 18-year-old, 19-year-old
It would
kid.
be- it would
he
be
would
a
get murdered.
bloodbath.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see somebody drive a 200-mile-an-hour car, squeeze in between a gap where you get 2 inches on each
Yeah,
side.
I'm sure.
Like I think that's harder than
Hell, it's hard for
getting
me
lucky up
sometimes
there hitting
to
somebody.
pull out on university, so I'm not gonna say it's not. I'm not gonna say it's not hard.
You roll out there at 7:31 a.m.
Again, disclaimer: none of us can do
You get the
either of
Remington
this.
crowd.
Yeah.
You're there.
Hell, it's hard to stay on this road, like by Victory Life sometimes with
If the engine kind of pulls
dually
down,
comes through. Like I know it's hard.
What I look at it though is like you don't have to put yourself through the physical training that you would have to do to become
Yeah.
a world class.
Mhm.
In
I
2
can still
years,
go home
you're
and drink a
not-
30-pack every day and be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, you're not going to be a world class boxer in 2 years. You're not even going to be a mediocre boxer.
The hardest part about boxing is becoming okay with getting hit in the nose.
Yeah, oh,
Like
for
you have to get where
sure.
you're just like, that's not a big deal. Like you hit me in the nose, I'm
It's
gonna
like the
hit you
worst
back.
thing ever.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man.
I guess I'm getting hung up where have you seen Jake Gyllenhaal's transformation for Southpaw?
No.
It's like that dude turned into. I'm not saying a professional boxer.
There's a lot of special effects
Yeah.
going on in that movie.
There's a difference
But he
between
tra-
physical specimen.
He trained for like a year for that and still kept up with it because he liked the training and everything. But like his physical transformation for being very diligent in this program was shown, and I think somebody like you, because you're physically gifted, like you're a massive human to begin with. Like I think you could.
People politely call me fat.
No, like
Heavy
you're like
set.
6'4",
I heard it.
huge. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe I'm just overcrediting Ben here, but
I mean, I think you can get in shape, by doing boxing, but I don't think you could be a great boxer or a good boxer by putting in without being a top level athlete.
Yeah. I don't have the
I don't
mindset.
know.
I don't have the mindset to be a great boxer because I'm an idiot.
Well,
And so I'll stand, I'll
that's
stand in the middle
the
of the
thing,
ring
though,
and throw.
and that's where
And
I
so,
look at it because
I'll-
you're using, as an athlete, you're using your body.
Yeah.
As a driver, you're really not.
Okay, so here's something that
The car becomes your body.
it's like a jockey. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the horse is the athlete.
Exactly.
Um,
Totally.
Okay, but here's a borderline. Maybe it's a sport, maybe it's not a sport. Where you're using your body is cheerleading, like cheer competition. Cheer is that a
competition.
sport?
Well, honestly, I kind of put it up there with gymnastics.
Are you giving points?
Still didn't answer.
I don't know a lot about cheerleading competitions.
Well, what I'm saying
I know
is,
they compete against other
yeah, but
other
you get like
teams.
points for doing tricks and
I think so.
stuff like that. Like
well,
gymnastics, like
I need
14.
more information on that
Yeah.
because I would equate that to gymnastics. You have to be physically gifted to do that
Yeah.
shit. I can't
Okay.
hold a chick up with one hand. Like,
Yeah.
there's no.
Well, I think it
fucking
depends
way.
on the chick for me.
Well, yeah, me too. But I mean, like you give me Gary Matthews here, I could do it. But like, give me Tiffany Paris that played at OU. There's no fucking way. You know, but I look at that because I mean there is some
Okay,
physical
yeah.
ability.
I would
there.
give it that too. Yeah.
I
would
think
say
if you're
it's-
being scored,
I equate
if it's our
that.
scoring system with the athleticism that's involved, I think it's.
I
Yeah.
equate that with gymnastics.
So NASCAR's the only one that's not a sport?
No.
Because you don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
IndyCar and rally car is not a sport either.
All right, get this. All right, all right, all
No,
right.
And track.
To me,
Here's
it's
the
like
deal.
either
Here's
they're
the deal.
all or
I'm
nothing.
gonna lay this
Swimming
out
and
there.
track aren't their competitions.
I'm gonna lay this out there. Every car that you have, say you have two
You don't
cars
get points.
per
It's
team,
not a score. You
they're
just
not
race.
exactly the same, right?
Okay.
One will handle a little different than the other.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, you crash your primary car. You're getting your secondary car. You're not the same driver.
Yeah.
You're not the same driver. It's the machine is what is taking the brunt of what's happening. You have to account for that machine because say you're going around and this car handles just an eighth of an inch different than the one that you have.
Mm-hmm.
It feels different. It
Mhm.
smells different. It just doesn't feel right. But that's not a change that you made. That's just how it is. The machine is the sport.
Is swimming a sport?
Well, fuck yes.
I think it is. Ben says no.
I would
There's no
drown.
scores.
I think
there's
it is.
There's no point system. Like it's just a race.
I think
If
you're
NAS-
saying, I think it takes athletic ability.
Hell yeah, it does.
If NASCAR and
Get your ass
horse
in the
racing
water
are-
with a swimmer.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
Like I'm not saying
Get
they're
your
not
ass
super
in the water with that Katie
I'm not
Ledecky
saying
chick.
they're
She
not
was.
super athletic. I'm just saying there's not a point system, so to me it's not a sport. It's competition. You're competing against other people to swim the fastest.
So you said what makes a
Also,
sport?
diving is a sport then because there is a point
There's
system
point.
in
You
diving.
score
Point
point.
system. Yeah, you score points.
See, this is going.
That's where
off
to
the
me.
rails.
That's where I go back to my. I could draw the line at a ball and puck and feel a little more safe
Bowling?
about my argument.
Well, but then,
Sure.
then with the ball and puck, swimming's not a sport to you either. Then.
That's what I'm saying. Either they all need to not be, or they all need to
Well,
be.
that's-
Where
but that's
it's
what-
any competition
Well,
sport.
your ball and puck line is my scoring line.
Okay.
Like if there's a way to score points,
Okay.
it's a sport. If it's a
So
race
y'all are
or
too hard
something,
lines.
it's a
I
competition.
think anything where you put your body,
Yeah, I'm like you. I think if it's athletic ability. So here's one.
where like
bowling.
if your body breaks down. Look at bowlers; they're fat
Points.
asses.
Score points. Sport.
But you know,
Ping pong. I mean, where you gonna,
Score points.
dude, if you've seen some
Table
of the dudes
tennis,
play some fucking ping
foosball.
pong, you
I
gotta
think
be in
you're.
shape for
I
that
think you're
shit.
underestimating NASCAR drivers, and I hate NASCAR, and I'm defending.
I'm
it
not
to its
underestimating
death
it.
right
I'm
now.
not saying
just
it's not
saying-
super hard.
I'm just saying,
I couldn't
I think it's a
more,
very difficult skill.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
more depends on the machine than the man.
Yeah.
I'm putting it that
I agree.
way. You take the man, you put him in a different machine.
Yeah.
He's not the same man.
He's not saying that like the drivers aren't elite.
No,
But
Yeah, they're
it's
the best
like, it's
drivers
like a
in the
jockey
world.
on a
not
horse.
at all.
You can
Yeah.
put the greatest jockey in the world on a shitty horse and a horrible jockey on an amazing horse, and they're probably going to come out about equal in the race.
Exactly.
Like the driver matters, but the car and the horse matter a lot too.
Yeah, you take like I don't know the NASCAR dudes, but none of the old school.
I know Danica because she's a looker.
Yeah, there you go.
She's still. That's not NASCAR though, is it?
Yeah,
Or
she
is
Yeah,
was-
she,
oh,
she
she
was
did
for
for-
a
She did
minute.
Indy started off.
Oh, okay.
But we'll go Jimmy Johnson. The dude's won like 7 championships. You take him and put him, say, in Dale Jr.'s car, without any changes whatsoever,
Mm.
and you switch them. I guarantee you, those dudes wouldn't win shit because they don't know that vehicle. It's more about
I
the
agree.
vehicle than it is the man.
So you're saying if you put
It
anybody in
handles
Jimmy,
differently.
you think if you put anybody in Jimmy's car, they would win? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Like if they
No,
trained in
no.
Jimmy's car, though, they train in Jimmy's
If
car.
they
No, no,
train,
because the
maybe.
driver
I think driver
the
makes
driver
a lot more.
matters.
I'm
than
not
the
saying
car.
the driver doesn't matter, but I'm saying the car
Yeah.
makes a huge fucking difference.
the driver doesn't determine the race.
Because the
driver
car
and the
also
car.
depends on a mechanic. It depends
Yeah.
on the crew. It depends on everything. The
Yeah.
vehicle is the athlete there. The man is just the brain behind it.
I mean, I get your argument there.
It's like if all the NASCARs were just remote controlled,
Yeah.
I think it would be the same.
Okay, very good one. Or professionals like
Yeah.
video gaming,
No.
not a sport.
That's
No.
competition.
No.
I
My
guarantee
kid
you,
can
none
do
of you
It's
can
just a
do it. I
skill.
can't do it.
There are kids
My
that who are
kid
some of
down
the
there
best
can
in
do
the
it.
world at different games.
Yeah, my kid tells me all the time like where he's ranked at and stuff. And for a kid that doesn't get to play a ton because we restrict him fairly well, like apparently pretty fucking good.
I went about 4 years never losing the game on John Madden football. That was really good. That's a skill.
A lot of money
I'm
in
not
some
an
of that
athlete.
stuff, too.
Well, yeah, I wish I would have known
Like
that.
now.
Yeah, now that was before the internet.
See, there's
To me, it's
no
competition, though.
There's no physical.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could drink. I could get hammered drunk and still be pretty good at video
Pretty
games.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, never play him in Madden. 'Cause I'm shitty at it.
And see,
Good
I think
point. Yeah,
NASCAR
right.
would be far more interesting if they got hammered drunk. I mean,
I think they should get a baseball bat and like run around the circles in the pit stops.
Oh,
before you
hell
get back
no.
out.
They have to do a line of cocaine every pit stop.
Yeah.
They have to do a line every pit stop.
Every
But they get options. So
And
it's
then
like,
their camelbacks are full of Jack Daniels, and they have to go. That's just the rules.
but you have to finish the camel
I'd be
back.
really
Or,
good,
or
like,
we could
around
up the
5
ante
to
and
10.
make it crystal meth, however you want it to go.
That's like golf.
You draw from a hat what your poison is.
Yeah,
before
so
you
you're
go.
dropping a hat with your dope is. And then
It's like, oh, man, I got
I heard
mad.
somebody
making it
talk
sound
about
like
Heroin.
the dude that gets Ambien is going to be the fun one.
I'm a fairly decent golfer from like hole 5 to about 11.
Shit.
Yeah,
I
I
am the
get enough in me to
greatest.
start loosening up,
Yeah.
and then when I start to get too much in me, then it just goes back to
I
shit
am the
again.
greatest kart driver there ever was.
So
Car
here's
driving
something.
sport or not?
Exactly.
If you, because you're a baseball guy, and I know I keep getting away from the topic.
Oh,
But-
it's the topic's
The top's
gone.
gone.
Let's go.
We're done.
The topic's whatever we talk
Okay.
Yeah, we're
about.
rolling.
Still obviously
now.
haven't listened to this podcast.
So so I know you're a baseball guy.
Sure.
How would you? And I wish they would do this across all sports. Just fucking do it. You have the NFL, and then you have the ex NFL where everything goes. You don't do any drug testing. You don't do any performance enhancing testing.
Sure.
Same thing with baseball. You have your traditional baseball where you test the shit out of them, and then you're like, all right, you guys want to do roids, whatever. We're not testing in this separate league. Go do that. And you just have one league where anything goes. You know, if you're a 350-pound football player who runs a 4.5, you want to do steroids and run a 4.3, whatever, go do it. We're not going to test you in this league.
Okay. What's your question?
Would you?
Oh, yeah, that's what it-
Would I be interested?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you want to see what's going to happen there because to me, you introduce a foreign substance. All right, let's go to the 80s. All right, let's back up to the 80s football team. Dudes like John Matuzak. He was. You ever seen the Goonies?
Yeah.
He was Sloth in the Goonies. The dude played for the Raiders.
I'm
The
not familiar with
dirtiest group of motherfuckers there was. This dude partied hard, did a lot of drugs, and guys like Hollywood Henderson that played for the Cowboys, he did drugs on the sidelines. They didn't give a shit, dude. They hurt people. All right, the savage side of me is like, yeah, I want to see these quarterbacks get twisted up like a pretzel. But you also have to look at the other side of it. Is like, what are these dudes doing to their bodies?
Yeah.
I don't care about the advantage. To me, it's like, and the steroid area gets brought up a lot with baseball. For me, I don't look at it that way. For starters, it wasn't illegal. At that time, it was not illegal. Bonds never got caught. It's therefore not illegal. Clemens never got caught. Now, dudes like Palmeiro got caught. They said Palmeiro wouldn't have been so bad had he went in front of Congress and been like, I never took steroids, and then 2 weeks later test positive.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah, the fact that Bonds never tested positive is right.
for me, the steroid area does not bother me in the least because to me the steroid area saved baseball, brought it back.
That's the only time I ever kind of got into baseball was Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds thing. Sammy Sosa. I'm sorry.
All right, well, let's
And I don't watch any baseball.
Let's do a prelude to that. All right, so we talked about this before. That's the time when Jordan retired. It was right in that era. 98 is when that happened. That home run chase was 1998. Jordan had just, fuck it, I'm out. All right, baseball had just come off the 1995 strike. No World Series that year. Griffey was he was on pace to hit 61. I mean, it was huge. And Griffey is my favorite athlete of all time. His signature's right up there. I mean, that dude, I went to Cooperstown, seeing him inducted into the Hall of Fame. That dude is my guy.
Cried tears.
That's awesome.
I mean, I bawled like a baby when he came up there. Like, me and these dudes from Seattle were hugging it out. Like, seriously.
Just throw your underwear on stage.
Oh, no, we didn't get that far. But anyway, what I'm saying, though, he was never a suspect in that.
Yeah.
He was that great then. But also, I look at what happened at that time after that strike. So we move on into 98. baseball was dying. People hated it because of, they're all a bunch of money grubbers and all this other shit for that time. Well, then the chase started. And we've talked about it before. I mean, it broke in on national news. Oh, here's McGuire. He could hit 60 and then he strike out. And then, oh, there goes 60. Oh, he's one away. Everybody knew 61. That, to me, resurrected the sport. Like, brought it back.
Yeah.
Much needed. So I'm not as hard on the steroid guys as most fans are. You know, I look at it like,
Phase
oh,
of the
fuck
game.
him, he cheated. No, they didn't.
Because the skill it takes to still hit a home run is still a millimeter difference.
And, like,
Yeah.
who were the two steroid guys that you mentioned? Bond and Clemens. I mean, it wasn't just hitters taking it; pitchers were taking it too.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
I'm not saying that the playing field was level by any means. No.
Yeah.
I like the Houston Astros. I think what the Astros did is worse than what the steroid dudes
Agreed,
did.
100%.
No, I agree with that.
They hid cameras in the outfield and were stealing signs and then radioing them into their players.
Oh,
so
wow.
the players knew
Dude
what
hitting
pitch
on
was
a
coming.
trash can. If it's like a curveball, he'd hit the trash can the way, or off.
They had a
pitch.
signal set up, and some of them, it never got confirmed that they had the buzzers in their uniforms, but they would buzz down, and like, you got a curveball coming, and you're setting dead red on it, and you know what's coming.
Yeah.
And see, if you, like with baseball, it takes a second, but you can tell where the pitch is going to be where the catcher sets up. Well, if you're watching from the outfield, you automatically know where the catcher's going to set up. Well, the catcher gives the signs between his legs. So, if you know that, hey,
Inside curveball.
The 3 is the curveball. He's dropping the 3 and he slid over. Boom, boom, boom. You know what's coming. You're sitting dead red on it. You got a way better chance of hitting it out.
Yeah.
To me, that's far more cheating than what the steroid dudes did, because the steroid dudes, for starters, a lot of them, and me and you've talked about this, was getting over injury.
That's where it started.
You know, it was a way to bounce back. Now, the poster child for the steroid era was Jose Canseco, because he brought it forth. That dude was on steroids from day one. He knew how to hide it. He knew, and he's the one that introduced it. If you look at who he played with, 99% of them are on the Mitchell report. Not Bonds, but Clemens. It's right there. They played together in Toronto. I mean, he's had a drink of water with a lot of them. So for me, the steroid era is not
an
a
era
thing.
of the
It's
sport.
just part of it. So I mean, not to downplay what you're asking, I would be interested in both, because I want to see balls hit farther. I want to see pitches thrown harder. I want to see guys like, I'm wearing a Roy Williams jersey. I loved that dude because he would blow your ass up.
Yeah.
You know, imagine Roy Williams on steroids, jacked up, just as
dog.
fast as he was,
Yeah.
and coming at you like a missile. Yeah, you want to see, because it's going back to those Roman gladiator days.
Yeah.
See, that's kind of where I'm differing at. Like, that doesn't tickle my fancy as much. Like, if I just want to see dudes beat the crap out of each other, I'm going to watch some boxing.
Well,
like,
yeah, sure.
Like, I think football's in a pretty good spot right now. I
But you
enjoy
can't
how
tell
the
me
league
you
is.
would love to see Tom Brady just not get blown up. Like, let's take a step
I
back.
think there's sports that I'd like that I could see, you know, having a side league in. I don't know if football.
See, I think there's enough physical
one of
contact
them.
in it.
Well, the thing about football, it wouldn't last long because of injuries.
Yeah.
People would get destroyed.
Well, I don't know how.
You
I mean,
literally kill people.
you'd have some
Sure.
bigger hits here and there.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be steroids. Like I heard, who was it the other day? They were talking about taking Adderall, and they were like, "Hey, we've been hearing that some guys are taking Adderall and they play really well on it." So it was him and someone else.
In baseball, that's a real deal.
Yeah.
And I attribute this to the guy. When you mention Adderall, there's only one name in baseball that comes to mind for me, and that's Chris Davis. He used to play for the Rangers, now plays for Baltimore. This dude, when he left Texas, he had promise. When he got to Baltimore, he was a 40 home run guy. 40.
Hit 50 one year, I think.
Yeah. He was 30-100 every year. By 30 home runs, 100 RBIs every year. He gets busted for Adderall. Hasn't been the same player since.
Yeah.
He got suspended a season.
Massive contract. Because he was hitting the ball like nothing.
Enormous.
Yeah,
And that's the
now,
thing about.
now he looks like me sitting there swinging a bat.
And now the
He
thing
didn't
about
play.
with
Now,
him,
like, he got benched this past
Did
season,
he?
I think.
they
like,
set him.
He was hitting like 150.
Yeah.
Well, I
You
can't
can't
remember
play
the
good,
guy.
man.
He was a former NFL. I think it was like Akeem Talib or some cornerback. That he said him and another cornerback, they decided to try it one day in practice, and he said it was the best practice he had ever either one of them had ever had in their lives. He was like, I've never been so locked in. He's like, after that, we were like, hell yeah, we're gonna do this during the game, and then they got popped, like they got tested, and they didn't know that it was a banned substance. Is what he said.
Yeah.
But
It's like, I don't think marijuana should be tested in any sport.
in the NBA just stopped doing it
a lot
because
of
of
them are going away from
healing properties.
Well,
of it.
Yeah.
and also,
Those guys
if
travel
your
so much.
if your team plays in a state that is 100% legal, like the Denver Nuggets,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Any
And it's not a
California
performance-enhancing drug. Trust me. Like,
it helps out with recovery.
yeah, but I'm saying like on fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not taking it
you don't-
before a game and like.
I don't know. There's a
you're
couple
all-
guys who
player.
play. Ask J.R. Smith. I mean,
Yeah.
he played pretty well, except
Well,
for that one fuck up in the finals.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, you generally wouldn't associate
Yeah,
that
I'm
with
just joking.
with speed.
Yeah.
You know, because like Gary Matthews hit this dude's father, speed freak, center fielder. Had to be quick though because they were hitting balls out there, but just flying,
Yeah.
constantly going.
Couple
Of course,
bumps
that-
cocaine in the dugout would help that.
well,
out.
that was a lot of those dudes. I mean, it wasn't uncommon. It was not uncommon.
Yeah.
You know, they talk about that.
Didn't Babe Ruth do all sorts of drugs? And
Fuck
stuff
yes,
too?
he did.
But nobody curses Babe
But
Ruth.
no
for
one
it.
knows there wasn't piss testing back then.
Yeah.
Imagine Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle is one of the greatest baseball players ever lived. And honestly, I mean, you hear that name, you know who he
Yeah,
is. You know, that guy was an incredible drunk and God knows what else. Like degenerate gambler. He got kicked out of baseball. They don't tell you this part. He got kicked out, but he was already in the Hall of Fame.
Mhm.
He couldn't have anything to do with baseball in the 80s because he got kicked out for gambling, just like Pete Rose did. Of course, he was long gone. He was in the Hall of Fame in 1974. So, I mean, that's long gone, long past his time. But there's stories of Mickey Mantle, like he would get an abrasion and would drink so much that it wouldn't heal and it would turn into gangrene.
Oh wow.
That's part of the reason why he didn't hit 61. He was the much better player than Roger Maris. Roger Maris is not even a Hall of Famer. But he was protecting Mantle in the lineup. So Mantle would get hurt, not play, or things like that. But there was times when Mantle, he would show up to the game straight from drinking. Like Whitey Ford tells the story. Whitey Ford was the pitcher on that team, and he would tell that story of like he would come in and they're like, he barely had his uniform button and just be reeking of booze and sitting on the bench, sitting on his hat. He couldn't find his hat because he was sitting on it, just wasted. And then go out and
Hit a homer.
hit a homer, a couple 2-run doubles, and still have a gold glove performance in center field.
Wow.
I mean, but that's the dude, and he died of liver disease. He was a drunk. You know, you look at those dudes back then; they weren't held to the same standard because I'm not saying Hank Aaron done any drugs or anything. I'm not saying he didn't. Neither did Willie Mays. I'm not saying they didn't. It just wasn't a.
The odds of them doing it are a lot much higher than people now.
I agree.
For sure.
And if looking back on it, it was even more widely available. They played in the '70s, man. It was
Pass the crap around in the stands
Yes.
in a game.
So I mean, to me, those dudes are held to a higher standard because the standard wasn't there.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, I think we're going to round this one up. I think we're verging on 2.5.
that'll work.
Okay.
It'll
So
work.
who team went? How do we pick who's
So
team
I
won?
think the consensus is that I have the best team and
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
else's team sucks.
What if we vote?
So,
You can't vote for your own team.
well, shit, we've been talking for 45 minutes. I don't remember who's everybody has on their team.
I got CC's team. That's who I take.
Probably go Benz.
I'd probably go Benz too. Wait,
Not
say,
there.
say it one more time. Let me hear the lineups one more time. Sorry.
LeBron, Ray Allen, Rodman, Wilt, Durant, with Dr. J, the Greek Freak, Garnett, and Moses Malone.
Okay. And who'd you have again?
Stockton, Jordan, Malone, Kareem, Bird, Miller, Robinson, Jerry West, Jason Kidd.
AI, Kobe, Hakeem, Magic, Bill, Dirk,
Shit.
Clay, Luka, Kawhi.
I think I might have to change mine. Oh, I've got Steph, Oscar, Scotty, Duncan, Shaq, Barkley, D-Wade, Dominique, and Manu.
There's no way to.
Yeah.
I like your team.
I think
but
I only see like I can find like fault with Ray Allen, and I can find fault with like John Stockton just defensively, but I can't really find anybody.
I'm going to make an argument. I think I've got the best starting lineup. I think I've got the worst bench.
I think
I
I've
think
got
there.
the best bench, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Who's your bench?
My bench is Reggie Miller, David Robinson, Jerry West, and Jason Kidd.
I don't know if Jerry West can play nowadays. Jerry West can't guard the Greek Freak or LeBron.
Oh, with Phil Jackson as my head coach.
yeah.
Forgot to mention
All right.
that.
What about put the Greek Freak instead of Ray Allen starting?
Yeah, that'll make a
100%.
huge. That'll make a huge
But
difference.
then I lose some shooting. That's all. I don't have
Do you
to.
need shooting if you got all those guys getting in the rim?
You just got a defender.
That's true.
You got everything else except for a great shooter.
I don't know. I don't think there is a best team.
No.
I wish there was like a.
I wish somebody was really good at 2K.
Yeah, whoever's listening,
yeah.
There's no way to put a metric to this.
Come on, 2K, run it up.
message the small town Stoics and tell us who wins.
For sure.
I think my team and Jeremy's team get in a fist fight.
Most definitely. Jeremy's team gets a fist fight with themselves.
Well, that's true.
My team.
I think Rodman instigates a fist fight and then backs away and watches as Jeremy's team devolves into a big giant fight about who gets to fight Rodman.
And my team would fight on the plane. They would fight on the bus to the stadium. They would fight in the locker room.
Like
But
Jordan would be Bully and Stockton.
But I'm gonna
They
tell you
roll the
something.
dice before the
But I'm
game
gonna
out
tell you
there.
something though. You don't hit one of their guys.
Yeah.
You don't, because then they're gonna be on your ass.
They play like a top
The
team.
only one in there that I would, well, I got two, would be like, oh fuck it, we're out. It's Robinson and West. Like Robinson would stay on the bus, be praying
Yeah,
and
David
shit.
Robinson.
Yeah.
I was saying you had David Robinson.
I only have two guys that probably would fight, and that's Shaq and Chuck.
Durant's my only guy that I think wouldn't throw down.
All my guys I think would.
But
throw
he would
down
go
except for
home
those
and
two.
tweet about it.
Yes, he would go on with a huge
He would
shit on
use his
Twitter.
burner account.
Yeah, he would definitely tweet about it.
Like, did you hear what happened in practice today?
Yeah.
You motherfuckers.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Durant playing with this kind of team would toughen him up real quick.
It would.
So, none of that shit would fly. He wouldn't be a top dog. So,
All right, we're gonna cut her out.
Yep. So, thanks for
Like,
listening.
subscribe, all that shit. See y'all later.
Later.